threads to provide schools with information for nutritious meal preparation. Learn more at anthem.com/fever. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is the trade name of Anthem Insurance Companies Incorporated. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Miss M's Home and Garden, Johnson County's spring nursery headquarters.
Now your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
A few areas of fog early this morning. Otherwise, we will look for clouds to increase today. A spotty shower possible this afternoon with highs right around 73. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
It's 54 degrees in the capital city. I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level on the go. And at WIBC.com, Kendall and Casey starts right now.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Look, I know there's a lot of trials and tribulations in this world, Casey.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of reasons to feel down and think that things aren't quite going or working the way you want them. But at least for today, Casey.
Yeah.
The sun is shining over our shoulder here on Monument Circle.
It's true.
We are all, as we know, in at least decent health. And most importantly of all, for this moment in time.
Yeah.
For this one moment in time.
This one shining moment.
Our long national nightmare has come to a conclusion, at least for the next 3 months, as that is how long Gabe Whitley will spend in a federal penitentiary of some sort.
Yeah, he falsified some campaign finance records. He lied about raising hundreds of thousands of dollars in contributions, and now he must pay the piper.
And so I was trying to just, figure out how to best articulate how I feel about things, and the euphoria it gave me is that judge sent Gabe to a Bureau of Prisons to be determined in the looming 3 months of federal incarceration that awaits him. And I thought, I was really struggling to find the words, and so I thought, I'll just turn it over to our friends Rodgers and Hammerstein and the musical Oklahoma.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way.
It's a lot different than the song Gabe is singing, I'm sure.
Okay, so you and me and Abdul and Hammer and Jim Merritt was there. Jim came with us for a little bit. We all sauntered over to the federal courthouse yesterday, and this was your first time of having the misfortune of being in person with Mr. Whitley, I understand.
Yeah, it was the first time I did see him in person.
And, of course, he exceeded all expectations. He lied repeatedly to the judge. He with crocodile tears, claimed remorse. And thankfully for the judge, he wasn't buying any of it.
No, the judge actually seemed to catch him in a lie a few times.
Boy, howdy. And this is the takeaway. So obviously we've talked about this at length on this show, and it's over for now. Now, Gabe does have state charges pending, and they're scheduled for July for threats and intimidation related to Abdul, and we'll revisit that then. But for now, this puts a bow on it, that Gabe Whitley committed one of the most stupid poorly executed crimes in human history, which was, for some still unknown reason, lied about donors and hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations to a campaign fund. And when you see this guy in person, Casey, and that's why I'm so glad you finally got to see it in person, you realize the guy is a complete and utter pathological liar. He wouldn't know the truth if it hit him between the eyes. He lies about everything, even the most obvious and easily disprovable of stuff. And the only way to stop him is what I've been saying for 2 years on this program, which is to put him behind bars, which he will now be.
So Judge James Sweeney, he noted the seriousness of the offense, and he kept going back to that Gabe broke the public trust.
That's right.
When he lied in 3 separate FEC reports, when he fabricated donors and personal loans, when he filed false reports in January and in April while he was running to represent me.
Yes, that's right.
He wanted to represent me. And so the judge kept saying, no, you broke the public trust. And the sentence includes 3 months in prison, $100 fine, another $100 fine, plus a year of supervised release. And his defense was that he said that he was impulsive and a hothead, and sometimes he just did these things.
Oh, don't forget, he also blamed it on autism.
And ADHD, he did. But the prosecutor's argument was that fraud was deliberate and sustained and not impulsive. And the judge picked up on that. The judge said, you repeatedly filed these reports multiple occasions, multiple times, over multiple days. That's not impulsive. That's deliberate.
Yeah, and you think about, because he lays out the history of this, that Gabe did basically the same thing. Thomas Langhorne from the Evansville Courier-Press did a phenomenal article, I believe it came out in 2023, about how Gabe basically did the same thing in Evansville, but he skated out the door on it. And the judge alluded to this in his sentencing to say, because Gabe tried to sue Langhorne and the Courier-Press.
Are you talking about the mayoral run?
Right, when he ran.
2021 is when that happened.
Right, but the article I'm saying, Casey, came out afterwards. And the judge said, you sued this guy for this. And yes, well, if you didn't think he was accusing you of something wrong, why would you sue him? And he was saying, look, there's a pattern of you doing this. And one of the things in his sentencing that the judge noted was oftentimes there are fines with these sort of issues, especially things that involve money. And the judge said what I've been saying, again, for years, which is monetarily there's nothing you can do to this guy because he doesn't have anything. That's why all these civil judgments against him, it means nothing. He gets on the internet and says abhorrent things about people because he said he's the Michael Scott Paper Company. Oh, I'll just start another one and another one and another one. There's nothing you can do. There is no pauper's jail in this state. So he can screw over whoever he wants. And what did he do last night, Casey?
Yeah, he was back online.
After this, almost quasi-tearful, I'm sorry to the judge,
He
I'm
said,
remorseful.
I'm embarrassed to be here today. I take full responsibility for my crimes, and I deeply regret the harm caused by my actions.
And what did he do? He goes on the internet last night and calls Abdul a pedophile again.
Yeah.
And so he's learned nothing. He's learned nothing. And this guy, it's almost like a Scooby-Doo episode. And this is the broader societal issue, right? Is this guy would have gotten away with it if it weren't for us meddling kids. And he made an egregious mistake, which was he called me a pedophile on the internet, so we started looking into him. And everybody knows it was him now. They tried to pin it on the Snuffleupagus man, Spencer McDaniel, who we've now proven obviously
Does
him.
not exist.
It's him. This guy would have gotten away with this for who knows how long if the media hadn't looked at the media. Obviously starts with us, and then our friends at the Capitol Chronicle ran the big article about him, and then the Indy Star got involved in it. Thomas Langhorne covered him down in Evansville before we had the misfortune of him coming up here. And you realize the depth of deception that this guy went to. And then you think about online where he creates these imaginary people and these whole lives for them, and he's garnering sympathy from people about this person's getting cancer and he's beating cancer. And it's just like, this guy is such a horrible, horrible actor. I get that the guidelines said no more than 6 months, but his likelihood of recidivism is off the charts based on he's clearly not remorseful at all based on what he did last night.
I'm wondering what you think that there needs to be any sort of campaign reform based on this? Because he was able to do this. Does this need some like real-time donor verification?
Well, they're lucky he's a genuinely stupid person. I mean, it was obvious. Like, obviously, my wife spent hundreds of hours because she wanted it all. I mean, the document that she prepared for the federal government, which kickstarted the formal investigation into this, was, I mean, the sourcing and everything was just off the charts. But it became obvious in a non-legal sense, once about you're putting 3 or 4 hours starting to look into this, that holy smokes, this guy's just making this all up. And this came out of us not being able to find Spencer McDaniel in this lawsuit. And we're like, this doesn't make any sense. We can't find this guy. And I told my wife, I said, this isn't right. She goes, I'll dig into it. And then obviously it ends up in this.
Give me a crack at it.
Given her career profession. But what we're lucky with was Gabe. I mean, it's ridiculous when you read some of the things that he did if you actually looked into it. If somebody good were doing something like this, it would be much harder to prove. It would have taken a lot more than somebody in their spare time filing a report with the federal government. And so, yes, part of the problem is the judge is like, how do I sentence this? Because there's not a lot of track record. I mean, Santos is going to prison, but he was actually elected. And that's one of the things the judge struggled with. He said in terms of Gabe violating the public trust, which was a big reason Gabe's going to prison, they determined he violated the public trust. He said you didn't actually hold the public office. When you look at somebody like Brent Waltz, who we had in here, who went to federal prison, he was an office holder. He was a state senator. The state rep who got sentenced last year over essentially selling his vote on gaming, he was an office holder. You were so incompetent, you lost to a dead person when you ran. But what do we do with you? Because how do we deter people in the future who are smart from doing the thing that you have done?
Well, and you also have to consider the fact that had it not been for you meddling kids and the article in Indiana Capital Chronicle, Indy Star, he potentially could have done much better in that race. Had more people not been aware of what he was up to.
Yeah, you're right.
And look at what that situation would have been.
Yeah, so yeah, and again, the timeline and all this, and even the judge was having trouble keeping track, and the probation officer was having trouble keeping track of the timeline. You're right. So the Langhorne article came out in 23. He was pondering a run for Evansville mayor in 22, which is when we sued him. And then he decided not to run for Evansville mayor. The Langhorne article comes out in 23, and then he moves up to Indianapolis for all this stuff. I think that's the actual timeline. I think even I'm getting it all confused now. It's so convoluted. And that's what the judge said. He's like, there's such a track record. Oh, by the way, the best part about this, and then we'll put a bow on it. He blamed him doing these false campaign finance reports
on a former employer
who he won't tell you who it is. And the judge is like, okay, well, who are these people who told you to do these reports? Like, society needs to know who these people are who are encouraging false reports. He won't give it up. The judge orders a sidebar with his attorney. By the way, did you love the static that they typed in when they're having the sidebar? Because obviously it's a small courtroom. You can hear anything that's going on in there. And he then still won't give it up. And they come back out of the sidebar, and it's like, nobody believes that.
Yeah, he said it was a former employer who was teaching him to falsify filings. I thought the best part was Hammer's artist sketches.
If you go to Hammer and Nigel, their Twitter feed, Hammer did artist sketches throughout the course of the proceedings. And anyway, so I think I got the timeline wrong even there. But it's just the guys pulled so much crap, it's impossible to keep track of all of it. So, all right, that's it. We'll obviously touch base a little bit throughout the day today, but a win for society yesterday. Gabe is headed to the pokey.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
This May, you've got a chance to see what an IndyCar driver's dream garage really looks like. WIBC's Tales from the Track, presented by Relay Indiana, takes you inside Graham Rahal Performance, a high-octane hangout where racing meets luxury. Hammer and Nigel sit down with Graham for great stories, laughs, and insights from someone who grew up on the hallowed grounds of the IMS. But this backstage pass to speed, style, and surprises is sold out. The only place to register to win tickets is WIBC.com.
Promises made, promises kept. Governor Mike Braun's bold leadership is already getting things done for Hoosiers. Governor Braun and State House Republicans are delivering massive property tax cuts. We're talking nearly $1.5 billion in relief. That's real money back in homeowners' pockets. But Braun didn't stop there. He cut local income tax capacity by nearly $2 billion and capped the local income tax rate to protect Hoosiers. And Braun led the fight to reform local government taxes, giving Hoosiers more say by requiring referendums be held in high-turnout elections. Thanks to Governor Braun and State House Republicans, your property taxes will be lower, future increases are reined in, and the system is now more transparent. Visit HoosierHope.org and let Governor Braun and Republican legislators know you support historic property tax cuts. Paid for by HoosierHope.org.
You know that feeling of a fresh, clean home? Well, spring is the perfect time to make it happen with Zero Res. Hi, this is Denny Smith. Think about everything winter left behind. Dirt, dust, allergens, pet dander, and maybe even some mystery stains. It's time to get Zero Resified. For a limited time, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $119 and take $75 off air duct cleaning too. That's real savings on a deep clean. Zero Res's patented ZR water cleans with no soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, just fresher carpets and cleaner air for your family. And don't take my word for it, just check out 4,900 5-star Google reviews. Don't wait. Beat the spring cleaning rush and book today. Call 317-388-5141 or schedule online at zeroresindy.com. Call now. Mention WIBC, get 3 rooms cleaned starting at just $119 plus $75 off air duct cleaning. 317-388-5141 or zeroresindy.com.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
From military life to a rewarding career in IT, kickstart your new journey in a matter of months in the fields of IT and cybersecurity, including AI. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including VA benefits.
Mother's Day is almost here. Sundown Gardens is fully stocked with high-quality annuals, trees, shrubs, decor, and more. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com.
Do you want to talk about Governor Braun's first 100 days in regards to executive orders?
Oh, okay, very good, right.
63 of them, to be exact. So is that a lot? Is that a little? Well, Mike Pence had 56 executive orders over 4 months. Holcomb did 164. So...
Well, and yeah.
Holcomb had a lot.
Well, yeah, and obviously Holcomb's lockdown McGee's, a lot of them were tied into... were tied into shutting society down and putting his power pants on during the COVID lockdowns and the mask mandates. And but Braun, with these executive orders, look, here's where, I mean, we're done with the legislative session, and you don't feel the impact of governmental action until, sometimes it's a year or more down the road. But for all the huffing and puffing, the reality of what happened at the legislative session is this. Your taxes went up. The state couldn't manage their money properly, and their default move at the end of the session was to raise taxes on people. So taxes are going up. Your utility bills, despite Braun's claims to the contrary when he was running, are going to go up. Everybody knows with these SMRs, these small modular reactors that are going to be the nuclear power stuff, that the utilities, which are a monopoly, are going to get reimbursed for the technology, whether it works or not. You're going to pay for that. We know across the state, in many communities, local income taxes are going to go up. You're going to pay for that. There is a huge debate on whether the property tax provides any relief whatsoever. Now that they've yanked that business personal property tax exemption out of the bill, it's a minimal. Casey, I got to sneeze. You need to take.
It's a, bless you. It's a minimal, you were saying. It's a
minimal savings of tax. I mean,
Right.
and we'll get into this tomorrow with Nikki Kelly on her
I was
segment.
going with the word relief.
No, well,
savings.
right. I mean, you're talking a couple $100 million now versus this $1 billion they're throwing out. Now that they've kicked the can on the business personal property tax exemption down the road, and that may not ever even happen now at all, depending on who you believe. So what? So what'd you do this year, Braun? I mean, that'd be the question. The taxes definitely got bigger. The government got bigger. It got more invasive. And things like utility bills are going to go up. So what did all these executive orders, all this Doge huffing and puffing, what was really accomplished for the taxpayer?
Well, for the taxpayer, he did create a new cabinet structure, right?
No. Let me say it slower.
For the
taxpayer. Yeah, other than those people getting those fancy six-figure salaries that are running these areas of government now, what happened to the taxpayer?
Yeah, for the taxpayer. Okay, well, he did declare that only two genders exist, and he abolished DEI for the taxpayer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on. Keep going. I mean, I know he got a nice helipad for himself. Is $100,000 plus of free improvements to his property that are going on.
So he used executive orders to launch studies on diet-related chronic illnesses.
Okay.
Part of the whole MAGA thing,
right?
Or Maha thing when Kennedy was here. And
he also got a nice photo op with Dr. Oz and Kennedy. He waited until they were here to do that, right?
So are we growing reliance on executive orders? You've seen Trump do a ton of them.
Well, it's following the leader, right? And again, I will ask the question, if your taxes went up and the government got bigger or more invasive, what did you get out of the legislative session? And by the way, keep in mind, they tied that income tax cut, as small as it is, it's a fraction of a percent, to state government growth. Well, this year, then you wouldn't be getting the income tax cut. Think about how gross those people are. You only get money back if the state grows by a certain percentage. Oh. Gee, I hope you didn't injure yourself, strain a muscle doing all that heavy lifting over there.
So are these executive orders aimed at political point scoring versus governance?
There you go. Bingo, right? And some of them will probably do some good for the state. Some of the DEI stuff will be fine. But the thing that we look to the government for is the quality of life and the cost for it. They can't show where the quality of living got any better, and they can certainly show where it got more expensive to have at the very best the same quality of life. So if you want to call that a success, then, I mean, there is no difference. Holcomb and Braun, Einhorn and Finkel.
Finkel and
There
Einhorn.
is no difference.
It's the same picture.
We might as well just kept Crouch and Holcomb in there for another 4 years.
It's the same picture. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC, and Jim Merritt is going to join us next.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 317-516-6861 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. 317-516-6861 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 317-516-6861 for fast, easy, affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 317-516-6861.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
How he says his first 100 days made your life better. Nothing on radar in downtown Indianapolis. 55 degrees right now, 74 for a high. I'm Ryan Hedrick. Here's what's trending at 9:30.
President Trump is giving himself a pat on the back for his first 100 days, but he's also going to great lengths to defend his decision to impose sweeping tariffs, while at the same time unveiling some new exceptions when it comes to the auto industry.
That's Fox News reporter Mark Meredith at the White House.
Late Tuesday, the administration announced that the tariff impact for foreign car makers won't be as heavy. They won't have to pay additional tariffs on steel and aluminum on top of the other tariffs they would have to pay, at least for 2 years. The president wants more automakers to move production to the United States.
And critics of the president fear an economic recession. The U.S. economy contracted slightly in the first quarter, according to data released this morning. It shows gross domestic product fell 0.3% from last year. And Lakers superstar Luka Doncic is donating $5,000 toward the restoration of a monument, a mural that was destroyed, a mural depicting Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gigi. And the opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. All three major indices are down this morning. I'm Ryan Hedrick, on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com.
Are you worried about your taxes? Okay, so I'm talking to those of you out there that have not filed in a few years with the IRS or state. It's time to get worried, and here's why. The IRS is getting back from their own COVID lockdown, and they're hiring more enforcers, and they're going to come after people that owe taxes. So if you're a 1099 worker, and maybe you just plain forgot to file your taxes, you need to call the professionals right now at the Tax Helpline. They are experts at knowing the tax regulations, and their goal is to help you pay as little as possible. Call right now and get a 100% free tax evaluation. Remember, before the IRS knocks on your door, knock on our door. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, make this free call right now.
Call taxes 321 now at 800-808-9443. 800-808-9443. That's 800-808-9443.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell Ice Cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A DSNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials too. With a Humana DSNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through May 4th, new customers can get started with 300 megabit internet and Security Edge for $69 a month for 24 months. And ask how to get free installation on qualifying bundles. Plus, find out how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra. After 24 months, regular rates apply.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
It is the Kendall and Casey show, and Rob Casey's here, and oh my goodness, look who it is. Robert, you know him for 30 years in the Indiana Senate. A witness to history yesterday. The great Jim Merritt, hello.
Good to see you. Good to be here.
I was so glad you were in the courtroom with us yesterday, as we touched on to start the program. Our old pal, dishonest Gabe Whitley, heading to the federal penitentiary. It's really a show you got to see in person.
It really is, and ornate building, the old federal court house, and as well as they take care of your phone. You can't have your phone on you, and I'm surprised they let me in with an umbrella.
Yeah,
but it was a sight to see what actually happened. I grew up with the judge, so to watch him in action was interesting, and he was so methodical. That's what our friend Abdul said on State House Happenings, and I think it's right. I just wonder in a sentencing hearing why there wasn't proof of the conditions of his health were explored pre-sentencing.
Well, yeah, and we talked about that earlier. Obviously, he claimed to have this ADHD and autism, and this is why he did the things. And we talked about a State House Happenings, which we taped earlier today. That's really, we obviously work with Damar now.
Right, it's
for
a
that
slap
program.
at Damar and Dr.
is.
Jim Dalton. No question about it.
But I do want to use you for some other expertise, which is the session is wrapped up, mercifully.
Yes.
Now, back me up on this. They were in some sprint to get out in the middle of the night Thursday, and I was like, why are they rushing? They don't have to be out till the 29th. And then you realized, oh, shoot, the assessments started showing up on Monday. There's no way that's a coincidence. That's part of the reason they were rushing to get out of there. They know when those property tax assessment or the property assessments are going to show up.
Well, there are a lot of factors there, and as well as the fact that having 150 people who are up for re-election, not 150 people, but 125 people are up for re-election next year, and as well as they've been corralled for a long time since January with a week off in the middle. They felt like they needed, I'm sure they felt like they needed to get it done and get it done quickly, and because it was so fragile.
Yeah, well, and this is where it comes into, and we talked about this on State House Happenings. They're rushing stuff through. They're clearly not reading it. Mike Young went ballistic on the floor, senator from Indianapolis, about how nothing's getting read. And then you get this stuff that comes out of nowhere, like just giving the governor full control over trustees at IU. And you're saying, this is why people hate the government. That's a major thing, and there was no debate or discussion about that whatsoever.
Well, and also, contrary to the 1980s, it's just such a open society with social media and being online, and everybody can see it. That you really don't have to wait for the Indianapolis Star to end up on your front doorstep like it was 40 or 50 or 60 years ago. And so it was not a good demonstration of legislative success, and they'll spin it the way they want to. I worry about the governor for the next 3 years and his approach to everything, because most of what he ran on, most of his agenda for this legislative session or for the 4 years really is depending on the legislature. And so you're going to have a short session next year. People are going to be running for re-election. It will not be a budget year. And the governor's office has to be thinking, we need to turn the page here. What, you can just do so many executive orders. Of course, Governor Holcomb wrote 70 for the executive orders during the pandemic. And so Senator Braun Governor Braun can do that. But what's next? What's next for the legislature? What's next for the governor's office?
Well, that's the big question, Jim, is there's a lot of pissed off people. And I'm not sure. Look, the General Assembly, it's easier for those guys to deflect because they just got to go to their district and sway. Even a lot of them don't even get challenges, right? Now, I think they will next year with all the honked off people. But the reality is most of them are still going to end up back in the General Assembly. Some may fall, but most will survive. But if you're Braun, you now he's not up for re-election next year, but you can't hide from this.
Yeah.
He can't hide from those assessments that just showed up in people's mailboxes or are starting to. That talked to state rep, and I talked yesterday about this, about how that bill is not capping bills for a lot of people, and they're going to find that out the hard way next year when they get the bill. And it's like, what do you do if you're Braun? Oops, sorry, didn't know the bill that I signed. Like, how is he going to spend that?
Well, he'll continue to defend it, and as well as the legislature will. And how do you, if you're governor, or you say that the legislature, the individual members have to go back and they'll probably win, but I think that with social media, with people being online, with people really understanding that situations went on in the State House that really they felt like they weren't represented. Those legislators, those senators, those members of the House of Representatives have to go to the grocery. They go to the gym. They go to church. They are out in society, and some of them, maybe many of them, will have to be at Republican events, Democrat events, and they will people will approach them, and so there are 150 people that are boots on the ground, and they will be questioned. They will have third house meetings where people come on Saturdays, so that the chamber. There will be some opportunities for people of the state of Indiana to ask them about what happened and why it happened in the legislature.
I want to come back to this IU thing, because you're an IU grad, I'm an IU grad.
Yes.
Now, I went to IUPUI. Does that count?
Yes.
Do I still get the credit? I mean, it says, the diploma says IU. Okay. So there's no discussion, there's no bill hearing, there's no anything about changing the way IU is run. And then in the final hours, in the middle of the night, they just put this thing in that says now the governor's in charge of the trustees at IU. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. Look, IU's got some issues. I don't think there's any doubt about that, especially when you compare them to Purdue.
Right.
And if you want to make major changes to how IU's run, that's fine. But people are looking around going, no debate, no bill, no discussion, no testimony.
The lack of transparency is abhorrent. And you can debate the issue all you want. I thought the election, I voted, I don't know about you, as alumni. And
do I get to vote?
Well,
I don't give money, so do you have to give money to get to vote?
No, you just have to be a graduate at IU.
Nobody's ever told. How do I even vote?
Well, you can vote online.
I've never been told I had a vote.
Okay, well, we're going to have to fix that. But not now.
Well, yeah. I didn't even know I had a vote.
Right.
Nobody's ever. What is there a letter that? I mean, I've never gotten a letter, or don't forget to vote in your.
If you,
because you know I'm a voter.
Before July 1st of 2025, you were supposed to receive something in the mail advising you that you can either vote by mail or vote online.
Conveniently, must have gotten lost due to my no donations over the 15 years I've been out of there.
We needed severe debate on this, and they debated some serious questions this last year, and I think the bill would have passed the legislature, but to put it in,
they don't want the heat.
Yeah, well, they went through some heat this year on different issues. The DEI issue they did, and your buddy Micah got involved in that. But the whole idea here is put it out there, with sunlight, and I just don't understand. And I said on State House Happenings before I got there in the 80s, they would have committee hearings and then clear the committee hearing room and then vote on the bill, not announce who voted for or against the bill. And so a lot
just take some guy's word for it.
Yeah, a lot has changed, and the committee chairmen were so powerful back then, and so I don't understand it. And in this day and age of social media and transparency, demanding by people that this actually was included in the budget.
He is a national treasure. He witnessed history yesterday at the federal courthouse. We were so glad he was there.
I don't think we're done there.
No, are we done? No,
with Rob.
He's state charges next time.
Yeah,
he doesn't have to. I don't think he doesn't go to the federal court. Oh, you mean like we're not done with the charge? I think we're done with the federal courthouse.
Right, but I think we're not done with his legal problems.
Although with Gabe, who knows? Because he's got to do that year probation once he gets out of the pokey. Yeah. We may not be done with the federal courthouse. Hey, Jim Merritt, you're the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel Show, a recap of Donald Trump's first 100 days address in Michigan and what happened with the Pacer playoffs. Tony Kinnett also on the program, 93 WIBC.
Your future holds so much potential. The question is, are you planting the right seeds today to make it flourish? At Howard Bailey Financial, we strive to help you create a retirement plan that can adapt to your evolving needs, offering guidance to bring you clarity, confidence, and purpose along the way. Whether you're just beginning or refining your financial strategy, we're here to support you. Let's grow something lasting together. Text GROW to 888-262-1104 to start planning for your future full of possibility. That's GROW to 888-262-1104. Take the first step today. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
The heart of a mom gives everything, her time, her love, her prayers. And just like Jesus showed us the power of selfless love, many moms and mother figures demonstrate it every day. Whether it's a hug, a call, or a simple thank you, let her know she's cherished. Consider bringing her to church. She would love the time with you to sit and consider the deep things of God. So celebrate her, celebrate love, and give thanks to the one who gave us both, Jesus. LifeChurchIN.com.
From the moment our eyes met, I knew it was love at first sight. She had such a playful sense of humor. And when I look in that sparkle in her eyes, I just melt. My folks always said to find the girl I can't live without. And my heart says she's the one. So I'm going to Pierce Jewelers in Carmel for that perfect diamond engagement ring. Nothing says I love you more than an engagement ring from Pierce Jewelers. She pierced my heart. Now I'm going to pierce hers. Shop local. Shop smart. Shop Pierce Jewelers.
Hey, this is Denny Smith for LD Smith Plumbing. Lance Smith joins me right now. No, we're not related, but I'd be proud to call him my son, my uncle, my cousin, whatever. Lance, welcome to the studio.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, sump pumps, they're coming up. You guys, it's probably time to get your sump pump special. You brag on this every year.
Yep, it's a real deal. Free primary sump pump with the purchase of a battery backup system. Simple as that. No hidden labor fees or anything like that. 317-927-7186 or ldsmithplumbing.com.
Think of it as WIBC on 2x speed. Big opinions, great moments, and just enough chaos. The WIBC Mashup Podcast brings it all together in one fast, fun listen. New episode each weekday. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast.
So you're wilting under the pressure that social media is bringing to your existence?
No, I'm in this point right now where I'm just like, ugh, social media, just every single platform.
Oh, all the apps.
It's just so toxic and venomous. And Kevin was prophetic what he just said, a digital playground for narcissists. I mean, wow, dude, nailed it.
Because, Kev, you don't really do much of the social media anymore. You're on them.
Yeah, sometimes I check Instagram and Facebook, but I don't really engage with it. It's just kind of a habit to check it. And every now and then I'll delete the Instagram app so that I can take a break from it.
Oh, you don't, because you don't trust yourself to not be on
Sometimes
it.
I need to just delete it, but I'll end up re-downloading it because I also use it for the band.
Can't
page,
help yourself.
So, yeah.
Well, it is. I mean, there's a bunch of different. Social media is really a strategic thing, and you got to be disciplined in whatever your approach is. And if you're going to engage, especially in any sort of political world, now, if you're engaging in some sort of cake baking society, it's probably not nearly as intense.
Right.
But in the world in which we live, you've got to be prepared that if you are going to dive into that, you got to have really thick skin and you got to be able to process things differently than most people do, because it will suck your soul.
Well, I know that my skin has definitely thickened up over the past 3 years, and it's not that I'm like hurt by any of it. It's that I'm just, because, I mentioned to you, like, we get tagged in all sorts of stuff, and it's like, oh, Micah this and Rob that and property taxes and Braun. Okay. And then when I go through my feed, is DC Drano talking about Trump this, and then the libs Trump that, and I just like, so many times, like, oh my gosh, I just cannot right now. So then I'll close down X, and then I open up Facebook, and well, there's a book, a novel written about us, and I'm like, oh, okay, enough of that. And then,
do you want me to stop sending you all the hate that people post?
No,
because I get joy out of it.
Well, no, I know you do.
I want to share my joy with you. I'm like, my wife last night was like, you get more joy out of people being mean to you than any person I've ever seen.
Well, that's what
And do you want me to stop? I'll stop.
No, don't stop. I'm just saying, because I can control it myself. Like last night, you texted me and you said, so-and-so is saying stuff at 10:15 at night on Facebook about us. And I texted you back and said, I'm watching the new Bob Dylan movie. Like, I'm trying to, get a moment, a mental break away from that stuff. And then I open up TikTok, and it's like, this woman is, how I found out my husband is cheating on me after 7 years. And she's on part 12. And I got sucked into all parts of it.
Yeah.
So, that's on me. And you just got to, like Kevin, be able to know when to just shut it off.
Well, see, that's interesting, because when the thing I sent you yesterday, I wasn't sending you like, oh my gosh, do you see what he's saying? I sent it to you saying, I think I can do a dramatic reading of this and it'll be pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. And I'm like all about it. Like, yeah, you do it. You do the dramatic reading. But I'm just saying, with social media in general, you got to know what your limit is.
Yeah.
And over the past couple days, I felt like I reached my limit. And so I'm not like announcing I'm taking a break. I just mean, like, in my own personal time. Like, I know when I've had enough for today. That's enough. I got to do something non-political for a minute.
Like he says,
I got to watch the Bob Dylan movie.
Like he says in Dirty Harry, man gots to know his limitations, and that's really where you're at. Now, you can be, I think you can exist in the social media world where you can also be a casual viewer, like
be voyeuristic.
Is that the word? Is it voyeuristic if someone's telling you to look at it? it's not voyeuristic, right? If somebody's like, here's my stuff, look at me. You're not peeping through a window.
That's true.
Yeah, they know what they're signing up for.
They're on the front lawn. It's not
Right.
like you're some burglar prowling into their home. They're telling you, look at me. And Kevin and I were having this conversation. There are some people on social media who I just enjoy looking at because of the train wreck that they are. I don't engage with them.
You're
I don't
watching
fight
the
with
show.
them. I know these people casually. I enjoy the calamity of their existence brings peace to mine. It makes me feel better about my own existence. And so I will,
Right.
and plus it gives me cool things to talk with Kevin about off air. And I like, the social media things just never bothered me because at any point, like right now, let's do an exercise, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, these people in the YouTube chat, they exist. I see them at this moment because I'm looking at it. Oh, X. Now they don't.
Right. Strangers on the internet. I get it.
Okay. And I'm not trying to condemn our YouTube people. They're very nice today and they're being very well behaved. But I'm just saying you can stop them whenever you want.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And that's on you to have control over what you're doing. And as Kevin said, sometimes he'll just delete Instagram. I, last night, made a choice to not engage and watch the Bob Dylan movie. And now that I've watched that, I really want a 1964 Triumph Tiger motorcycle.
You should get yourself one of those. You've earned it.
If you could find one.
All right.
Classic vintage.
State Treasurer Daniel Elliott's going to join us next. He's going to talk about a big old victory that you, our fabulous audience, help him achieve on behalf of the taxpayers. Plus, a dog's coming in.
I know. Alfie's going to be here. It's Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
My name's Craig Landers. I'm a union laborer for Local 120, and I'm a member of the Veteran Steering Committee and been retired for 7 years.
For members of the Laborers International Union of North America, giving back is part of their commitment to the Indy community.
I like to help veterans and family downtown. Part of the building burnt down that housed the veterans that lived there. So we donated money to help out. They lost everything they had. I mean, they didn't have much, but they lost what they did have.
When the Indy community needs help, LIUNA steps up.
People bring in clothes and shoes and food. We had a couple of car shows and donated the proceeds to the Veteran Suicide Prevention.
This is Chris Bricky, Business Manager of Labor's Local 120. While all our members are skilled, highly trained men and women, we are also your friends, neighbors, Little League coaches, and volunteers here in Indy.
Pretty good to help them guys out. And that's a good feeling to help people out.
We build Indy for good jobs and stronger communities. We are LIUNA Local 120.
Don Fisher here for QC Kinetics. I want to share with you the best thing I've done for my knee pain. I've been hearing commercials about the groundbreaking treatments that QC Kinetics offers for months. Meantime, my chronic knee pain had hit an all-time high threshold. I wanted to stay active and enjoy playing golf again without the pain. So I decided to call and book an appointment. And what I found out was that QC Kinetics is the non-surgical solution. I have no knee pain and feel like I did 10 years ago. And it's all because of the non-invasive therapy from QC Kinetics.
Discover the solution to joint pain with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. For a free consultation, call 463-282-6886.
I'm back to playing golf and enjoying life. Take it from me, this is the best call you can make to relieve your orthopedic pain.
For your free consultation, call QC Kinetics today. 463-282-6886. 463-282-6886.
Hi, Jeff Roush for Tom Roush Lincoln. Right now, get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators, up to $8,000 off select 2024 Nautilus, or up to $7,000 off select 2024 Corsair at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Navigator MSRP 105,575, Nautilus MSRP 6195, Corsair MSRP 47,820. Offers good through 4/30/2025. Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
You ready to build your custom dream home? Check out Joyner Homes based out of Greenfield. See one of their model homes in person anytime. It is a great way for you to experience the customization and quality of a Joyner Homes custom built home. Plus, you can meet with a new home specialist to learn about their building process. Available lots if you don't already have one. Find out about floor plans and where they build. Model homes are open 7 days a week from noon to 5 and walk-ins are welcome. Find out more at joynerhomes.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-213-5757. 800-213-5757.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust like Price Point Comfort Heating and Cooling? We'll find that independent American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Mother's Day is almost here. Miss M's Home and Garden is fully stocked with high-quality annuals, trees, shrubs, decor, and more. State Road 135 in Burgersville.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios, more bad weather could be headed your way. You'll get the latest on that and what the governor's wife says she's doing to help kids learn to read. Those stories and more after Fox News on 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis, it's 10 o'clock.
The economy shrinks, so the stock market drops. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The Dow's plunging nearly 800 points after this morning's report showing the economy went into reverse to start the year.
The gross domestic product declined 0.3% in the first quarter. Economists were expecting an increase. The report covers the months leading up to broader tariffs revealed on April 2nd. Consumer spending increased in the quarter, a sign of stocking up as Americans anticipated prices going up.
Fox's Jenny Casola. President Trump reacted on Truth Social, writing, "This is Biden's stock market, not his." Writing, tariffs will start kicking in and companies will move into the U.S. in record numbers and our country will boom like no other. The morning after his big rally in Michigan.
What the world has witnessed in the past 14 weeks is a revolution of common sense. That's all it is.
Marking what he calls the most successful first 100 days for any president ever.
We're ending the inflation nightmare, the worst that we've had probably in the history of our country, getting woke lunacy and transgender insanity the hell out of our government.
Democrats tout low Trump job approval numbers, calling his first 100 days chaos. Here's Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
He's acting like a king, a mob boss, a wannabe dictator. He said he wanted to be a dictator on day one. It looks like he's extending it.
The Supreme Court is about to hold a hearing this hour, considering what Oklahoma's Republican Governor Kevin Stitt tells Fox
is the biggest religious and education freedom case in our history.
He is hoping for a ruling that allows
the nation's first religious charter school. That measure could also greatly expand taxpayer funding for religious education.
That's Fox's Todd Pyro.
The Wall Street Journal reporting today's argument will specifically consider, does a church have a First Amendment right to open a taxpayer-funded charter school, or can a state exclude religious charter applicants in the name of secular public education?
America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
When things could get dicey, skies are sunny and it's 57 degrees on Monument Circle. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 10:02. The weather's been throwing a lot at you across Indiana lately, and it's not done yet.
We've got a couple of active days here for today and tomorrow. We're going to have some storms move in late this afternoon into the evening, so 5 p.m. onwards. And with those, there could be some severe wind gusts.
Aaron Updike with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says you could also see some hail, and only places in southern Indiana have a chance of seeing a tornado. Former Indiana congressional candidate Gabe Whitley has been sentenced to federal prison for 3 months for campaign finance fraud last year. Whitley admitted that he falsified campaign finance records and lied about raising hundreds of thousands of dollars in contributions. U.S. District Judge James Sweeney says the short prison sentence is due to Whitley's lack of criminal history, along with several ongoing mental health challenges and the man's troubled, traumatic childhood. Helping Hoosier kids read is the goal of Indiana First Lady Maureen Braun. On Tuesday, she announced what she calls a fundraising initiative to expand and sustain Dolly Parton's Imagination Library across the state.
Reading opens up a world of imagination for kids. Having books in the home helps children do better in school. and will benefit them throughout their lives.
She says she'll be collaborating with philanthropic organizations and state leaders to secure the necessary money and raise awareness for the Imagination Library's expansion. No discipline's been discussed yet, but evidence of grade changing within one Indiana school district is apparent, according to the people hired to find it. Chris Davis reports.
Grade changing in exchange for money. That appears to be what has been going on in South Bend schools, says an investigator appointed to look into it.
The issue appears to be widespread, with at least 2,500 grades for individual courses that appear to be manipulated in some way over the 3 years that were reviewed.
Diane Frothy says it seems to be a systemic issue with teachers, counselors, and administrators all involved. No names named at Monday's school board meeting. Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And the Indiana Pacers were catapulted to a playoff series win Tuesday night over the Milwaukee Bucks. All 5 of their starters scored in double figures, and they won the game 119 to 118 in overtime. They advanced to the Eastern Conference semifinals to play Cleveland next. Game 1 is Sunday. I'm John Herrick on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. 10:04, Kendall and Casey coming back in 1 minute.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling will pay you cash for your scrap metal. Race Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling may seem familiar to you, and that's because they are. They're trusted local family-owned businesses going back 3 generations in Indy with their familiar orange logo and a name you know. But you may not know they'll pay you cash for your scrap metal. Cash is king. Your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, and brass will get you cash from Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Just drop it off or schedule a pickup, and you'll put cash in your pocket. Raise Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Local names you can trust with 2 locations.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Get cash for your scrap. Get started at farnsworthmetals.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Sundown Gardens, Hamilton County Spring Nursery Headquarters.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, it's a feel-good story and it involves a dog.
I can't believe it. I'm so excited, Rob. Did you set this up?
I did.
Did you do this for me?
Well, because, I'm going to take credit for it.
You
I mean, our
should.
guest actually did most of the work, but you know me, I'm never afraid to steal the limelight from somebody else.
Yeah, you brought Alfie the State House dog in today.
Well, Daniel Elliott, the state treasurer, brought Alfie the State House dog in today. Daniel Elliott joins us now. Hello.
Hey, guys.
All right, so before we get to Alfie, because that's all Casey wants to do now, it's the dog, the dog, the dog. You actually have a purpose for having you here, which is our audience help do some good for humanity.
Yes, they did.
What did we do?
So you remember last time I was here, I was a little hotter, a little angrier.
You were angry.
And with good reason, because we had special interest groups that were trying to change. They put some language into the budget bill where it had to be voted on. This language really pretty much demolished a program called Trust Indiana.
That's right. That's how you invest the money for the state.
That's how, not for the state. That's how we invest money for local government.
That's what I mean. Yes.
Right.
You as the state invest the money for local governments.
Yes. Because what happens is this. You take the closest town to where I live, a little town called Morgantown. Sharon is the town clerk of Morgantown. She's a great lady. Very sweet, hardworking, good at keeping books, but she doesn't have a lot of investment experience. So what we do is we offer this tool for them that allows local governments to invest very much the same way that the state of Indiana invests. Now, this program has some limitations on it, which is the only state in the country that has this. And these limitations are that half of those deposits or half of those funds have to be put in bank deposits, which means the return is much lower than it could be.
So you had said, hey, local governments are having some concerns about revenue, especially with this property tax debate. I would like to open the doors, so to say, in a responsible manner. I mean, we're not talking about getting in with the FTX guy.
No Bitcoin.
Or Tim Durham or, those guys, right? And you're saying, I already do this with state funds. Mm-hmm. I'd like to give the local governments the same tools that we have that have been very successful.
Exactly. And in fact, if we look at this program, Indiana has a great credit rating. Now, I run the Indiana Bond Bank, has AAA credit rating. The state of Indiana, AAA credit rating.
Is the bond bank an actual bank?
It's a pseudo bank. It literally exists for the purpose of helping local governments bond projects, like very, very low dollar projects, like $10 million or so.
Low level.
Yeah.
People are going to hear that and go, low level, 10 million's low level?
10 million for when you're talking about building sewer.
I got you.
Yeah. So, infrastructure, things like that, where, it allows local governments to build up their infrastructure in a smart way.
So you came out and said this. You're a very direct guy. The lawmakers got mad, especially this Travis Holdman guy who works for the banking industry. He said, not only am I not going to allow that to happen, I'm going to punish you for speaking out. And he tried to change the way your board, this Trust Indiana board, is operated, correct?
So what they did, and this was the bankers who pushed this, the banking lobby put 3 sections of this bill in. One is a board of bankers over me.
Yeah.
So that meant that they could literally say, you know what, we want to create a program that's literally going to be useless for local governments. The other piece of this was that they wanted to make sure that the maximum we could invest for something called commercial paper would be 15% for this local government investment pool. Well, it's interesting because commercial paper is a really standard, very stable product. It's got about the same risk as a local municipal bond. And to remove to 15% would be just really silly. Not only silly, to be honest, it would be against our fiduciary duty. It was really interesting. The Bankers Association president, Amber Van Til, went on the Indy Star and said, well, we need to do like Ohio. And, Ohio only has 7% of commercial paper in their local government investment pool. Well, I don't know, Amber's like president of a banker association. She's,
very unbiased.
Supposed to be really experienced in these things, but maybe she doesn't know how to read an S&P report.
Yeah.
Because the S&P report said that Ohio had almost 40% in commercial paper.
Well, in fairness, I don't know how to read it either, but I'm not proposing massive changes to public policy.
That is absolutely fair.
Okay, so Holdman works for the banking industry.
Let me point out one other thing that was put in this bill. So there was 2 things. There's actually a third. A third made Trust Indiana a financial institution. In other words, a bank. I have 1 employee for this organization, and to turn
is
it
it
into
Alfie,
a bank,
the dog you're about to show
not
us?
Alfie. It's it's a great lady who works really hard, going all over the state trying to help local governments. It is literally any of those 3 things would have completely decimated this program.
So Travis Holdman, who's the head tax guy, he works for the banking industry. He writes this bill to help his banking buddies. You rightfully go ballistic. You come on this radio show. You did a big interview at the Indy Star too.
Yep.
And then the phones start ringing.
Phones start ringing. Now I will say this. I realize this is going to sound strange, but everything seemed to work out really well after that. And
That's
here's
great.
why. First off, thank you to the listeners.
Yes.
They really helped on this.
They're the heroes.
Local governments, towns and cities and counties, they rallied behind me on this one. And I'm going to say this, and I know that you may be shocked by this, but actually, Rod Bray, Todd Houston, and the governor, all 3 got behind me on this.
Well, that's great.
So it took work because you have to navigate through this, and we all worked together. And I really have to thank Rod Bray. I really have to thank Todd Houston and Governor Braun, because there are certain points where different things had to happen, and each one, when the time came, stepped
So
up.
they didn't give you what you wanted, which is the freedom of the local governments to invest the money.
No.
But they didn't destroy your
They
program.
didn't destroy the program. It's not my program. It's the taxpayers' program.
Now, our question for you, Elliot, is we tried to work with these guys on property taxes and got nowhere. So what is the difference on this one? They clearly it's out the dog. Well, very good. Well, this will be the mascot next year of property tax reform. Okay.
I think what you're saying is the difference was our listeners.
I think your listeners had a big impact. I really do. I think everyone working together when we recognize that there's a need, that we have to fix something. Now, again, we're not done. It still we need to really get rid of this 50% cap. But the fact that everybody came together at the right time, especially last minute like that, I'll even give Travis Holman credit because, there were some things the last minute that need to be changed, and he worked on it last minute to get it changed.
Daniel Elliott, the state treasurer, is our guest, describing the rather heroic nature in which our listeners helped save the state of Indiana. They'll
and
probably make a
thinking
movie
Rod and
about it.
Todd doesn't happen often on this program.
Well,
does
that's this will be about it. So enjoy
But
it.
they did, and I will give them credit for
Let's
it.
move on to the dog, shall
Let's
we?
move on
You
to
have
the
a dog
dog.
here. Tell us about the dog.
Well, you know what? Alfie is, Alfie is, his mother is Allison Slatter. She is my policy director.
Oh.
And she comes and helps us. She works for the office. And
Now, the policy director, because you don't actually do any thinking for yourself, the policy director is the person who does the thinking for you.
actually, what she does is a whole lot of research to make sure that as when I go out here and talk to you and other people about issues, that I don't look like an idiot.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she is
she's the brain.
You remember in The Wizard of Oz where there's the guy behind the curtain? You are the great and powerful Oz in the smoke. She is the guy behind the curtain.
Sure.
That's right.
The reality is Allison, one of the key things that Allison helped us work on and did the research on was when we took on BlackRock.
Yeah.
And Allison did the work that helped us prove that BlackRock was using woke policies and trying to force their pensions to go in that
We
direction.
need an Allison. I mean, not to say that Kevin's not doing his job, but we need an Allison. Or should it be much better if we had
You
an
can't
Allison?
have Allison, sorry.
So Allison is the mother of Alfie.
Allison is the mother of Alfie, and so as we were at the State House, and we were starting to talk about, man, it'd be nice to have an office dog, a dog that could come into the office. And then Allison kindly offered to bring in Alfred.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I just thought this would be kind of a fun thing for the office. But what started to happen is across the State House, people would be, it's a very stressful place there, especially during session. People would come in.
Yes, all the scheming and scamming really will add gray hairs and years to take off years of your life.
Well, but also, people just have rough days, and people would come in, and they would just come in, and I'd come in. There'd be somebody I didn't even know.
Yeah,
an employee of the State House.
So Alfie turned into a service animal, huh?
Alfie,
a mental health service animal.
Alfred was meant to be a service animal. So I'm going to share something a little personal about Allison. She just gave me the nod so that I could. Not too long ago, her husband was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh man!
And they decided that they needed to get a therapy dog for them and the children, and her husband while they were going through this. Ian passed not too long ago, and so Alfred was a service dog already for his family.
Yeah,
and now he's just taking that same joy, and that calmness, and he's brought it to the State House.
It's the best behaved dog I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it's already better behaved than me.
Yeah.
That's
not
a very low
saying
bar.
much, but I was amazed. I said that dog already better fits into decent society than I do.
Yeah.
How old is Alfie?
2 years, 2.5.
Yeah.
2.5 years.
Golden Doodle.
Yep,
it's better behaved than my 22-month-old, and that's a human.
And he won State House Employee of the Month.
Oh well, he got the Employee of the Month from the Treasurer's Office. I don't know if it's State House.
Now, what type of dog is Alfie?
He is a Golden Doodle.
Golden Doodle.
So he is almost white. And about what was it? A few months ago, I said to Allison, because she was just walking around the State House, and people would just pet him and enjoy some time with him and help calm people down a bit. Believe me, I needed him this last few weeks. But I said to her, Allison, you should do a social media page for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so she did. And frankly, he's more popular than anybody else at the State House right now.
Where can people find Alfie on social media? Oh, it's on his tag.
It's on his tag. There you go.
Let's see here.
So if he gets
Down here on
lost,
the
not only
bottom.
does he have the
he has a tag to get into the building.
Alfie for Indiana.
Alfie for Indiana. There you go.
ALFIE 4, the number 4.
Yeah.
Indiana. Perfect.
Because he's got a State House badge.
He's starting his campaign already. Alfie for Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Man, thank you. Well, first of all, thanks for bringing Alfie, because that's made Casey's day.
Mm-hmm.
She'll get no work done the rest of the day. But also, thanks for, I told you, I said, it's great this worked out well. It's rare things work out well, but it's good for our audience to know that occasionally people are kind of down right now with the whole property tax thing and the budget, and they need to hear some good news that when they engage, it does occasionally work out.
It does, and this is a really good point where everyone came together. Local governments, leadership in the General Assembly. The governor can't really say enough good things about the governor. There were some times right towards the end where this looked like it was going to fail, and the governor put in his influence as well. So really across the board, your audience, your listeners, your program, the Rod, Todd, and Mike,
Flanders boys stepped up. For once.
Everyone stepped up.
That's right. Daniel Elliott, you're a national hero. Look forward to you being the Secretary of State. Not too long.
See you guys later.
Nothing. No comment.
No exploratory committee. Nothing. All right.
Casey, we can go to break.
All right. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
All right, so let's talk about We Grow Hair Indy. We Grow Hair Indy. 317-522-2995. That's 317-522-2995. And how this works, if you're looking in the mirror and you say, man, I'm a little light on the top of my head, I'd like to get my confidence back, a call to We Grow Hair Indy should be in store for you. I did it 4.5 years ago. Every time I look in the mirror, so glad I did. So again, you call that number, 317-522-2995. You schedule your totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation. Darren and the gang, top-notch guys. They'll take a look at you, see what you got going on, and then they'll give you some suggestions on how you can get your hair back with a trip to We Grow Hair Indy. In the meantime, you can see everything for yourself and other people who made the choice to go to We Grow Hair Indy and get their confidence back. WeGrowHairIndy.com. WeGrowHairIndy.com. Tell them you want to be as beautiful as Rob Kendall. WeGrowHairIndy.com.
Another update is just minutes away.
First 100 days.
A revolution of common sense. 25% tariffs on foreign aluminum and steel. It's keeping our steel mills going.
He's acting like a king.
Hear the news.
The Indiana Pacers delivered in a big way.
Here comes Halliburton. He lays it in!
Fought back to win the game in overtime.
As events happen,
10th person identified.
we'll happen to be there.
Serial killer Herb Baumeister.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Show Mom just how much you love and respect her with fresh flowers from Gillespie Florists. Mom will smile for all to see when she receives your beautiful and fragrant bouquet from Gillespie Florists. Hundreds of styles to choose from, or let the mom pleasers at Gillespie help you decide. Easily make this Mother's Day memorable. Click on GillespieFlorist.com right now to place your order. Visit Gillespie Florist at 10th and Raceway, online at GillespieFlorist.com, or call 273-1100. Gillespie Florist, for all the flowers in your life.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
From the moment our eyes met, I knew it was love at first sight. She had such a playful sense of humor. And when I look in that sparkle in her eyes, I just melt. My folks always said to find the girl I can't live without. And my heart says she's the one. So I'm going to Pierce Jewelers in Carmel for that perfect diamond engagement ring. Nothing says I love you more than an engagement ring from Pierce Jewelers. She pierced my heart. Now I'm going to pierce hers. Shop local. Shop smart. Shop Pierce Jewelers.
What is going on with the gorillas?
Could 100 men win in a fight against a gorilla?
Now I'm seeing all these memes and various other posts on the internet, some of them appropriate, some of them totally inappropriate, some of them creative, some of them gross, but they're having to do with gorillas. And so I asked you, because I'm not up on any of this stuff. I said, Casey, why am I seeing gorilla related posts everywhere? Some of them just awful, and some of them like, oh, that's interesting. I'd like to know why people are posting about this.
Why is somebody curious about this? And I think that's the bigger question. Are we just making up these battle simulations because it's something?
But these are everywhere. Like people are
Right.
all over all the social medias now. And I didn't know what was going. I figured something sparked this. I didn't think there was another gorilla that had escaped from the zoo or something.
Nope.
So what is it?
Somebody back in 22 started this debate, and it's finally reached Gen Pop, where everybody's talking about it. So a recent,
Wait. 2020, so 3 years ago?
Yeah, this has been going on for 3 years. But somebody put it on their Twitter account, and that person has 283 million views, and that's where it picked up steam. And then, of course, it went over to TikTok. So the question is, who would win in a fight, 100 men or a gorilla?
That's what all these posts are about?
Mm-hmm. That's the question.
Who would win in a fight?
Who would win in a fight? Can 100 unarmed men defeat a single gorilla in a fight?
Yeah, that's utterly ridiculous. You would just take, now it's not saying would we lose some men in the process. It was saying collectively could 100 men beat a gorilla.
Yeah.
Well, that's utterly ridiculous. Of course, you would just take the 100 men and they would squash the gorilla.
Yeah.
You'd lose the front line of guys, like the first 20 guys might, because that gorilla's going to fight.
Mhm.
But if you put 100 men in this room right now and just said charge,
Yeah.
I know gorillas are strong. They're not beating 100 men.
Yeah. So a male gorilla weighs about 400 pounds, and they are considered 4 to 10 times stronger than a human. They've got really powerful jaw muscles where if they bit you, they could crush your bones, and one swing of their arm could kill a man. So you've got to know going in that the first wave of men are risking their lives for the rest in the 100 group.
Yeah, this is utterly ridiculous. I can't believe this is a thing on the internet. I'm glad I didn't know what this is. This is stupid. This conversation is stupid. And this goes back to our conversation earlier. Maybe we all just need to get off the internet.
About the social media.
This is what people are wasting their time on.
It's gotten to this level that, this is what we're talking about now. Well, the thing is, so the experts say that the gorilla would actually get tired after a while because they don't have endurance like humans do. Humans can also strategize.
It's 100 men.
Right.
It's like D-Day, right?
Mhm.
I'm not trying to in any way belittle the incredible sacrifice and the thousands upon thousands of people who died on D-Day, but that's basically what they did. They're like, we're just going to keep bringing people until we clear the shoreline, right? Until we get to the wall, right? It's Saving Private Ryan. We will eventually, if we send enough guys, they can't shoot every guy. Somebody will make it, and that's exactly what happened. They just, I know it sounds callous, but that was the only option on D-Day. We got to just send the boats, and people start going, and a lot of you aren't going to make it, and we'll tell everybody what a hero you were. And that's the same thing with this. You would just put 100 people. The first line of people are going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
But 100 men, of course, could take a gorilla.
Yeah, you're going to have some casualties. That's going to be inevitable, but the gorilla will be outnumbered eventually. So you're saying this is a silly debate on social media. Really?
I just thought there was some deep meaning to this. I thought like a new gorilla had been born or something. And
No.
This is it.
In fact, I believe gorillas, they're endangered.
There's two ways you could go about it. I tend to think now the problem is with 100 dudes, it's like I said, you got to have everybody on board just rush at the same time.
Well, right. But what's the order of that? Are you drawing straws?
Well, in the military, right?
You're going to volunteer for the front line?
Some guy got to go at the end of D-Day was probably way better off than the guy at the beginning. I'm sorry. Or you could take 25 guys on each side of the gorilla and then all attack at the same time in a square type of fashion. Because you could hit him from behind. He can't hit everybody at the same time.
Or do you just pile on while he's sleeping? Take that approach. Does the gorilla have to be awake?
This is utterly ridiculous. I'm glad we didn't waste any more time than humanly possible on it. And the voicemails are coming up next.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
You were blessed to have a home large enough to raise a family. But now the kids have been on their own for a while, and the house seems a little different. All those rooms are a bit too much to manage. Simple just seems better. Simple Quarters is a company that understands, and they can help you trade in your house for one that's a better fit for this point in your life. A lot of folks don't realize you can trade in your house like you can trade in your car. Simple Quarters will buy your house and help you transition into a new one all at the same time. No double mortgages or months of showing and stress. They streamline the process. Or they'll simply buy your house as is, and you can take the next steps on your own. Simple Quarters is a Christian company committed to making your real estate transitions easier. If you're considering downsizing, Simple Quarters offers both as-is home purchases and a convenient home trade-in option. Call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. That's 317-900-HOME.
Will you be there?
This is just such a prestigious place and such hallowed ground.
Reigning Brickyard 400 champ and 2024 Indy 500 Rookie of the Year, Kyle Larson will try to make history racing and winning the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gainbridge and the NASCAR Coca-Cola 600 in the same day.
I love you, Indiana fans. How about we try and kiss these bricks on the IndyCar?
Don't miss your chance to see Kyle Larson take on two-time defending champion Joseph Newgarden and all the stars of IndyCar at the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gainbridge. For ticket info, visit ims.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The skies could darken later. Partly cloudy right now, 59 in downtown Indy. I'm John Herrick, and this report is brought to you by Window Nation. Here's what's trending at 10:29. You might see some storms develop across Indiana today.
And then as we get into tomorrow, more showers and thunderstorms will develop in the more early to mid-afternoon hours. With that, we're not expecting too much of a tornado risk, but there could be a damaging wind and isolated hail risk with that.
Aaron Updike with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says this month of April has had more rain compared to previous Aprils. The release for the first quarter's gross domestic product report showed a 3% decline, meaning the economy shrunk to start the year, and that's why stocks are falling this hour on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow is down almost 500 points. On Hollywood's Walk of Fame,
Welcome the newest Walk of Famer to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Ellen Pompeo.
Ellen Pompeo got her star there on Tuesday. You might remember her. She was on the Emmy-winning medical drama Grey's Anatomy as Meredith Grey. She has since earned the title of executive producer and helmed the Station 19 spinoff series. I'm John Herrick, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
I'm a proud owner of B-Window.
I'm a proud B-Window owner.
I'm a proud B-Window owner.
When you work with a local, employee-owned home improvement company like B-Window, quality comes first because your home improvements are a reflection of our business. And for a limited time, we're extending our employee discount to you, up to 55% off all products and services, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust local, trust employee-owned, trust your home to be.
Trust me. Hey guys, you know Mother's Day is a week from Sunday. And this Mother's Day, Life Church would like to welcome you to join them. There'll be special events at each Life Church location to make sure your mom or mother figure feels celebrated and special. Whatever you do, if you have your mom with you, be sure to give a hug, a call, or a simple thank you. Let her know she's cherished, celebrate her, celebrate love, and give thanks to the one who gave us both, Jesus. At Life Church, 4 campuses across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Great online services. Learn more on the web, lifechurchin.com.
Mother's Day's almost here. Sundown Gardens is fully stocked with high-quality annuals, trees, shrubs, decor, and more. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present voicemails.
All right, so we got several calls about the interview we did with Micah. Why don't we group those together?
Okay.
But did you see the Pacers game last night?
Yes, overtime, huh?
That was an unbelievable game. And look, there's something special about basketball in Indiana in the month of May, the Pacers and Racer stuff. And what is it, Gainbridge now? It's changed so many times.
Yes.
It was Conseco, it was Bankers Life. Is it Gainbridge? Is that what it is now? That place was rocking last night. The Pacers were down big and unbelievable I know we got a call about this, but my goodness, that was just such a compelling, really entire fourth quarter and overtime to watch last night.
What do you think about the Yes Sirs? Their new slogan.
They're the Pacers.
Pacers?
They're the Indiana Pacers.
Mhm.
Yes, thank you.
They did have a lot of gold shirts there at Gamebridge last night. It looked like a whole lot of fun. I know Hammer was there.
He always gets tickets to all of these things.
Yeah.
I can't figure out how he does it. Think about it, the day
He's nice to the right people.
he was busy being a courtroom sketch artist by day, then did a #1 talk show,
right,
and then went to the Pacers game.
Yeah, he's
what
a
a
busy
social
guy.
climber.
Okay, so do you want to get to the Pacers phone call?
Yeah, let's do that first.
That we got, Kevin. Can you? Okay, so here's somebody calling 317-684-8444 about the game last night.
To pass along something, I was at the Pacer game tonight, and it was awesome. At the end of the game, I won't tell you the names of the two players from the Pacers and the Bucks that were involved, but the Bucks player said, "Don't worry, you'll get swept in the next series." And the Pacers said, "Take your rhymes with spit and get out of my house."
What an end to that game. You had Giannis getting mouthy with Halliburton's dad. There was almost a fight. Matherin was involved in it. It stopped, and then it started again. Yeah, that was...
Some career scoring happened as well.
That game was very reminiscent of that 90s Pacers squad that would just find ways to win games. The Reggie and Mark Jackson and Smits and all those guys. That was such a cool feeling last night. What a great game to watch.
So the Pacers won 119 over 118. High scoring game too. I guess with overtime. that's going to happen.
Pacers had 13 in the first quarter. I mean, they were awful in the first quarter, and that would be 52 points if you extrapolated that over the course of a ball game. And they were down 17 at the end of that first quarter. And give those guys credit, they got it to 6 at half. And then even though the Bucks just kept hitting shots, the Pacers never gave up. Multiple times it looked like it was over. And as somebody who has the Pacers at 125-1 to win the whole thing, very pleasing performance last night.
Yep.
All right.
So you want to move on to the Micah phone calls?
We can. We had Mike on yesterday, and we had a spirited back and forth about
high energy.
And then we commented. Okay, so I don't know how many times we have to tell people this, but some people who claim to be regular listeners of the program, they get convenient amnesia when it doesn't fit their narrative. We do this all the time where we interview somebody and then we talk about the things they said after the interview.
Correct.
That's normal. Talk radio shows across the country do this all the time. And this is now multiple times where I've heard either from the guest. Remember, Mouthy Matt got all mad at us, the mayor of Lebanon one time. Oh, you didn't say that when I was... Yeah, because we had X amount of time. You were here. We asked you the things. That's where Mouthy Matt came from. That's where the name came from. Was we had him and we were very nice. He was here. And then we talked about the things that he said. You're the guest. We give you the chance to talk. We ask the questions. We make the comments. And then we got to go commercial break. That's how this works. It's not some gotcha or some conspiracy thing. We do this with guests all the time. So
Correct.
My point in all this is, Micah came on, we had the conversation, then we talked about the conversation in the next segment.
Yeah.
Which is how this business works.
It's what we do. Okay, well, I don't think he's going to like a lot of these phone calls because people are upset. So, Kevin, let's roll them.
Yeah, just calling in response to your conversation, Rob, yesterday with Micah. I don't know where his head's at, but number one, people don't want to wait 10 years down the road to get some relief as far as property taxes are concerned or do away with property taxes. I mean, he's sounding more and more like a typical politician. I don't know what his game is, but anyway, not very pleased with him right now.
Okay, so that's what we're saying. People don't want to wait. That's what we voted for you guys for.
Yeah, and one of the issues, I think, with Micah is he's rather insulated in terms of the people he's listening to. And we say this all the time. Our show, but a mouth of tens of thousands. So when we speak, we are speaking, as you hear in these voicemails, et cetera, for tens of thousands of people. So it's easy to come on and just fight with me or fight with you or get on the internet and say, well, they did this or they did that. If you're not recognizing what this show is a voice of and what it represents, then you got to change the way you're doing business because we represent so many people out there. And they are not. I mean, this whole thing about, well, you got to just engage next year. Why would somebody engage in a property tax fight next year? People gave everything they had this year. They were led down a path, and at the very end, the door was slammed on them. Mm-hmm. And they just said, we're not doing that again. You guys had the opportunity to stand up for us. We were all behind you. And no, we're not going to just smile and wait another year or 2 years or 3. I don't understand. Micah's too smart to think that that's just going to go over fine.
And isn't that exactly what the local governments wanted, by the way, in the legislature? We gave them everything we have this year. If we could just ride this one out, they'll be defeated and they won't come back next year.
I think Micah's too insulated at this point, and that's the only logical explanation that I can come up with, because it's like he's hearing it, but he's not listening to it. Like he's hearing the words that are being said, but any person who's saying the words, these are your people, Micah. These are the people who helped propel you through the convention and to be the lieutenant governor with a mandate. I mean, Braun would have probably been the governor regardless, but he certainly wouldn't have been the governor with the mandate he walked in there with, or the percentage of vote that he walked in there with, without these people now who are very upset, taking a chance, taking a leap, going against how they, in many cases, voted the last time, because they believed in you guys. And to just dismiss it or say, I don't care what WIBC thinks. Okay, you don't have to care what I think. You don't have to care what Tony thinks. That's fine. We're big boys. We play in this world. But you are insulting the hundreds of thousands of listeners each day who tune into this radio station, the 50,000 plus people who listen to this radio show every day, by saying, I don't care what WIBC thinks. You certainly didn't say that when you wanted their vote.
All right, here's another phone call, and I believe this is Trucker John.
You know, I'm sure Mike is a nice guy. I like what I heard from him a lot until now, after that interview yesterday. I'm a little ticked off, and I got a question about it. You know, he said, don't throw the baby out of the sink, or what he meant, see how things are going to be set up for next year to make it better. Well, if we're wanting to make things better, you don't start off by making them 10 times worse on everybody like the current bill does. You just throw the baby in the sink, or throw the baby out of the sink, put the baby in the sink with the water and the sewage and shattered glass shards. You made things a million times worse with that bill. That's not setting up to make things better for next year. Oh, my God. I'm losing my mind.
He's upset.
He should be. I mean, there is no leverage for Braun to come back and demand anything next year.
Mm-hmm.
The leverage he had was
this year.
The people in the moment.
Yeah.
And if he wanted some plan to be enacted, then you would have laid that plan out as part of concessions and any broad agreement. So, my thing in our audience, I think I can speak for the audience with this, which is, okay, Micah, then you go do it on your own next year, because we gave you everything we had. You're not going to be able to now, there are going to be a lot of primary challenges because people are pissed off, and some of these people are going to win elections, which is great. But in terms of the property tax movement, why would anybody believe anything that administration says at this point? Even if they come out with a great plan, nobody's going to believe you're going to pass it. Nobody's going to believe you're going to stand up to the General Assembly. Nobody's going to believe any of that.
Right. Well, they had the plan this time.
Yeah, well,
and look
did
what
they?
happened. Well, here's another phone call.
I just heard the interview with Micah, and I really could not believe my ears. It just made me want to cry. I believed in Micah. But to hear him say that he doesn't care what we think of him, that really hurts. That cut deep. If he did say that he wanted to fix the property taxes and that he expects you to call him out, he said all those. I heard him say them when he was running. I heard him. And for him to say he does not care about how we feel now or what we think of him, that was just wrong.
And Micah not succeeding means a lot of things go down with him. This is why I've been so hard on Micah. And I've said this publicly many times, but I'll reiterate it. The car in and of itself is not a death knell to Micah Beckwith's political career. But the car was big and matters, and especially now the things that came out in Indy Star about the car and how it appears a bunch of things that he said on the car aren't lining up with the reality of what were in the messages that Indy Star revealed or data that Indy Star put out. And maybe we can get into that next hour. The car limits your ability to have a moral high ground on telling people to stop wasting government money.
Bingo.
Like, this is what I've been trying to explain to him and to his people. It's not the price of the car. I get it. In the terms of a $46 billion biennial budget, 88 or 87 or whatever the number was, $1,000 is a drop in the bucket. But what it has done, it has made you a laughingstock when you go out and try to demand that other people do things and be more accountable with their money, and people don't take you serious.
It goes against his stance of limited spending and small government, especially with the bells and whistles quote. He could have rectified this situation even, and he has refused to do that. So when people say, oh, this car thing, it doesn't bother me, it's blown out of proportion. No, it is proportional because, as you said, it limits his ability to fight now.
And
it
then
comes across as hypocritical.
Right, absolutely. So I don't know if they don't see it, don't care. I don't know. I don't know at this point. But it's like that came out of a place of love to say, hey, you better get it together, dude, because you are the guy that's supposed to be leading the charge in that state house of holding people accountable, being the guy that can look and say, no, you've got to stop doing whatever the thing is, and you lose that high ground. And we'll get into the car next hour because the Star had some stuff that I think is maybe unfair to Micah, but it also had some things that are very fair for us to have a conversation about, given the things that the people around him or he had stated. So that is the thing with the car. Be like, I cannot believe you're still on the car. The story keeps going because things don't match up. And then when things don't match up, we have an obligation to comment on them, but none of this should have been happening because common sense would tell you that if your whole premise is getting rid of wasteful, unaccountable government and that every dollar matters, that you can't be doing this thing and then think you're going to have any sort of high ground over other people on how they spend their money. I don't know why this is so hard for some people in his office to process.
Okay. Another phone call. Yesterday, we featured a lot of songs about jail. And here's a suggestion.
I was listening to all the jail songs that were being played in honor of Mr. Whitley, and I think a classic song would have been appropriate, too. I'm sure Casey would be familiar with this song. I'm not sure, Rob, you're old enough, but how about Indiana Wants Me? You guys are great. Bye.
He just called out my age.
Yes,
we're familiar with that.
Ardeen Taylor, right? Yeah. All right. Hammer was with us yesterday in the courtroom for the Gabe Whitley sentencing, and we'll talk about his interpretation of what he saw take place in the courtroom as Gabe is headed to the pokey.
It's Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel Show, a recap of Donald Trump's first 100 days address in Michigan and what happened with the Pacer playoffs. Tony Kinnett also on the program, 93 WIBC. WindowNation.com, that's where you go to replace your cold, drafty windows with energy-efficient ones from Window Nation like I did. I love my Window Nation windows. I've saved a ton on energy bills. And your new windows can be installed in 1 day or less.
Go big or go home. And that's what they're doing at Window Nation. Right now, get four windows for free with every 4 that you buy. And there's no limit. The more you buy, the more free ones you get. 0 interest, 0 payments for 2 years. You don't pay anything until 2027, and you get 4 windows for free when you buy 4. And on top of that, get a free entry door when you buy a house full of windows. This deal is not going to be around forever, so you got to hustle. 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION, or go to windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Hey, it's Matt Baer for Conklin Exteriors. Don't wait to beautify your home for summer for a fresh new look and increased home value. New siding by Conklin Exteriors is the answer. From James Hardy fiber cement siding to a big array of vinyl siding colors and styles, the experienced pros at Conklin have all the choices. Plus, a lifetime workmanship warranty and over 10,000 satisfied customers. For your free estimate, call Conklin Exteriors at 317-ROOFING or visit ConklinExteriors.com. Tell them I sent you.
From a fast break to recovery, Indiana hospitals are here for every Hoosier, regardless of their ability to pay. That's why we're teaming up with legislators on a winning playbook to lower costs and protect access to care across our communities. Because good policy doesn't leave anyone on the sidelines. Learn more at HoosierLifeline.com.
Paid for by the Indiana Hospital Association.
Ready to build your custom dream home? Check out Joyner Homes in Greenfield. They've built hundreds of homes across central Indiana. Joyner Homes builds homes that have character, like the homes of yesterday, but have modern features, character-rich features with exposed wood beams, stone fireplaces, custom build-ins, and smart design. Joyner Homes has a full in-house team that includes architectural and design specialists that will be with you every step to ensure your vision comes to life. See pricing, floor plans, and photos at joynerhomes.com.
Meekum Auctions returns to the Indiana State Fairgrounds May 9th through 17th for Dana Meekum's 38th Original Spring Classic. Join us for the fun, fast-paced, high-energy Meekum experience. For avid collectors, first-time buyers, and enthusiasts of all ages, there's something for everyone. And with more than 3,000 vehicles up for auction, it's a chance to bring home your dream car. Register to bid and buy tickets now at Meekum.com. That's Meekum.com.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
Summer heat is coming. Will your air conditioner be ready? Don't risk an expensive breakdown. A quick tune-up from B&W catches problems early and keeps your family cool and comfortable. Join thousands of Hoosiers who trust B&W. Call 317-214-0108 or go to bplusw.com today.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Tired of digging through noise to find real news? Go straight to WIBC.com. Local stories, statewide impact, national headlines, info that matters. When news breaks, WIBC.com is already on it. Stay on the know while you're on the go.
I guess Hammers, do you take a day off? What'd he do?
No, his kid's needing car stuff. One of
Sounds made up.
No, I think one of his kids got a flat tire or something. So.
Oh, this is not a planned day off.
Right, no. Did
I miss a message?
No, he's going to be here today. He's just not joining us right now.
Did he tell us that?
He did.
When?
Last night he texted us.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, I had a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to work a second job, so I was probably in the middle of doing that. I missed it.
What are you doing?
I still run games on the internet.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So you had games last night?
Yes. It's baseball season.
Oh, that's true. And they have a lot of games.
That's right. It's like every day. That's why when I go hours without responding to people, like people all this time, message. I think I get 100 messages after a 3-hour baseball game. It's like, I have time. I'm working. I'm doing things. And then I got to get through all of them. It's like, I can't read all of these. Okay, so I must have missed that. That's my fault. Sorry, the economy sucks to the point I have to work a second job. I'm doing my best with what I have to work with.
I'm curious. Yesterday during the hearing for Gabe Whitley, I was sitting next to Hammer for a period, and then he moved up and sat next to you for a while.
Yes.
While he was doing his court drawings, his sketches. his, which were fabulous. He did you can truly see his artistic work.
You can go to @Hammer and Nigel, and you can see Hammer's artist renditions of, as he described, Gabe's hot lawyer,
right?
The judge, and Gabe himself. The Gabe drawings are fabulous.
So the whole time you're in there in federal court, you're supposed to, be quiet and not laugh, not make a commotion, pretty much be emotionless.
Real thing, I think we should just remind everybody who are tuning in, maybe you missed this. Gabe Whitley, failed congressional candidate, once lost to a dead woman. He was sentenced to 3 months in federal prison for lying about his campaign finance reports.
Yeah. But the whole time we were in there and he was drawing these, I would glance over, and it's the profile view that he drew of Gabe that I was having a hard time keeping it together there for a minute. Were you watching him do these drawings?
Yes, he was sitting right next to me.
Yeah, he was
very well done.
Professional. So
you know what I loved is one of the marshal guys who was in charge of keeping everybody safe. When we walked in, he came on, he goes, "Hey, I heard you guys were coming. We're big fans. We love you guys." I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." It's kind of wild to think in the federal courthouse, they sit around listening to WIBC, which that's pretty cool. So I don't know, maybe the judge was a fan too. He held it together well if he was.
Yeah, and so what, you saw Gabe walk by a few times? Is that what happened?
Well, you got kicked out several times.
I did get so. Can I tell the story? I go over to your house recently, and I brought beer with me, and your wife could not find the can opener to help me open it.
That's right.
So the next time I came back, I brought the can opener with me, or the bottle opener, rather, and I had put it in my purse. Well, we go over to the courthouse yesterday, and they put my purse through the screening, and they flagged me, and they're like, "No, sorry, there's something metal in your purse." And I was like, "I don't know what it is." It was the bottle opener that I had just been walking around with.
It seemed like they kicked you out 2 or 3 times. Was that just once?
It was twice.
What do you do? Do you just throw them on the sidewalk and say the homeless people are going to get them?
No, there was a trash can down by the street that I just went and threw.
I feel bad that cost you a lot of money to have to go to Gabe's sentencing yesterday.
It did. I'm actually out money for that.
But it was worth it to get to see.
I did it for society,
get to see what just a pathological lying piece of garbage that guy is in person. It was worth it, right? The judge did a fine job of holding it together. I will say that. He knew the guy was lying right to his face. He caught him in multiple lies. I did not know you could lie to a federal judge.
Well,
I thought if you lied, that was a big no-no. And yet I have now seen Gabe do this in multiple court hearings, a local one, the thing when he had the run-in with Abdul, and now this one, and nothing seems to happen when he fibs to the...
Well, nothing, except for 3 months in prison.
You know who
something.
Well, he ain't going to jail for that. He's going for lying on the forms. You know who the big winner was yesterday, Case, was his attorney, because she's done with him now.
Right, she can move on.
I bet she went home.
She's taking a vacation.
Kicked those heels off and cracked a bit of bubbly and said, "Thank goodness I never got to see or hear from that guy ever
Well, if she
again."
needs a bottle opener, there's one out in the trash can outside the courthouse. It's Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Promises made, promises kept. Governor Mike Braun's bold leadership is already getting things done for Hoosiers. Governor Braun and State House Republicans are delivering massive property tax cuts. We're talking nearly $1.5 billion in relief. That's real money back in homeowners' pockets. But Braun didn't stop there. He cut local income tax capacity by nearly $2 billion and capped the local income tax rate to protect Hoosiers. And Braun led the fight to reform local government taxes, giving Hoosiers more say by requiring referendums be held in high-turnout elections. Thanks to Governor Braun and State House Republicans, your property taxes will be lower, future increases are reined in, and the system is now more transparent. Visit HoosierHope.org and let Governor Braun and Republican legislators know you support historic property tax cuts. Paid for by HoosierHope.org.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they called a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable, but a simple breathing triangle solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Buthan Kiandula. After having one of Advent's simple breathing triangle procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did it. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at adventknows.com because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios, the latest on what's coming up regarding Indiana's weather, what's caught the eye of attorneys in Southport, and a scuffle after the Indiana Pacers game against Milwaukee has the attention of the Pacers head coach. You'll hear what he had to say this morning. Those stories and more after Fox News Radio on 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis, and it's 11 o'clock.
A drop-off in the economy triggers a sell-off on Wall Street. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The economy unexpectedly shrank in the first quarter, contracting 0.3%, leading stocks down, the Dow falling 400 points.
So on Truth Social, the president saying that this is Biden's stock market. He's saying that his plans will kick in and start working. The president says that he will work to get rid of what he's calling a Biden overhang.
Fox Business Network's Edward Lawrence at the White House, where a cabinet meeting is about to start. President Trump insists new U.S. tariffs will lead the country to a boom.
Later this afternoon, CEOs from some of the largest firms in the nation will be here highlighting their new investments. We're talking about NVIDIA, Johnson & Johnson, Eli Lilly, and more. The president has secured about $5 trillion in private and foreign investment for the U.S.
We also got two other updates to the economy a short time ago. Consumer spending rose 0.7% last month, driven by a spike in auto sales ahead of tariffs. There was no monthly inflation, and a gauge the Federal Reserve tracks closely what's called the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, unchanged from February, and the annual inflation rate declined slightly to 2.3%. At the Supreme Court, there's a religious liberty and education case this morning.
The case stems from Oklahoma, where St. Isidore of Seville Catholic Virtual School could be the first in the country to receive taxpayer funding for a religious charter school.
Fox's David Spunt outside the Supreme Court.
This case is creating a split in the Republican Party in Oklahoma. The Oklahoma Governor Education Head and Charter School Board are backing St. Isidore to receive public funds, but the Republican Attorney General Gettner Drummond is suing to block the approval of this deal. He says funding religious charter schools with public taxes could open up the gates for taxpayers being on the hook to fund charter schools teaching maybe Sharia law or Satanism.
A federal judge in Vermont just ordered a Palestinian man to be released. He was arrested 2 weeks ago during an interview to finalize his citizenship. The Trump administration wants to deport him for leading anti-Israel Gaza war protests in Colombia. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What lies ahead weather-wise? Right now, partly cloudy, 57 degrees on Monument Circle with a clear radar. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 11:02. A weather system, though, that could have heavy rain and damaging wind gusts could be both a factor today and tomorrow across Indiana.
We are going to have this system kind of stick around through some of Saturday, but then as we get into Sunday onward, we should get drier.
Aaron Updike with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says don't be surprised if you see temperatures in the 80s by the end of next week. Attorneys point to ongoing safety problems after a Southport boy was cut at school. Ryan Hedrick reports.
There was a student with a razor blade who was trying to cut off his friend's hair.
Attorney Catherine Michaels speaking with Wish TV.
And instead of cutting off his friend's hair, they slashed his arm.
The boy goes to Southport 6th Grade Academy. The district says the facts will not support the false narrative about the Southside community and its schools. The family is thinking about suing the district. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Another victim of accused serial killer Herb Baumeister is being identified. The Hamilton County coroner says Daniel Thomas Halloran's remains were found at Fox Hollow Farm in Westfield. Halloran was born in 1972, but it's unclear when he was killed. With Halloran identified this week, the number of known victims of Baumeister is now at 10. The statewide average for gas today, $3.14 a gallon, says Gas Buddy. That is up 10 cents from where it was on Monday. After the Indiana Pacers beat the Milwaukee Bucks Tuesday night to win the series, you might have seen a confrontation between the father of Pacer guard Tyrese Halliburton, John Halliburton, and Milwaukee Bucks player Giannis Antetokounmpo. Pacer head coach Rick Carlisle told the Fan Morning Show this morning that he's addressed the situation with John.
He clearly was carried away by this moment, and he assured everyone that nothing like this will ever happen again, and I take him at his word on that.
Tyrese also said his father's actions were wrong. The Pacers play Cleveland in the Eastern Conference semifinals coming up next. Game 1 is Sunday. I'm John Herrick on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. It's 11:04. Kendall and Casey coming back in 1 minute.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Miss M's Home and Garden, Johnson County Spring Nursery Headquarters.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, we got to talk about these data centers because there's another one on the horizon, and I'm starting to get pretty concerned about all of this.
Yeah, we got a phone call from somebody about this a week ago, and now residents in Pittsburgh, they've filed a lawsuit challenging this, haven't they? Or at least the rezoned land.
So Pittsburgh is west of Indianapolis. It's directly, what would that be? That would be directly to the west of Brownsburg, where I live. I know exactly where this plot of land is. It's a massive plot of farm ground, 626 acres. And you are talking about with this proposed project. Now, at this point, they've just gone through the zoning phase of this. And you are talking about, when you're talking about 626 acres, forever changing the landscape of a community. It's not like one pocket of the community. You're dealing with a one-stoplight town that is about to take 626 acres of agricultural ground, which is consistent with the character of much of the remainder of the community. Now, Pittsburgh has had what I would deem some pretty irresponsible growth the last several years in terms of the house farms. But by and large, the core of the greater Pittsburgh community still resembles what it was 30 years ago when I was a boy. And you're going to take that plot of ground and you're going to turn it into this hub of this basically technological hub, right?
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that because I actually talked to somebody who I will not name this person nor which board they sit on, but I actually had a long conversation about this the other day with somebody who was on one of the Pittsburgh town boards. So I'm fairly educated on this. And one of the concerns, and this is the question I asked this person, I said, I don't understand the need for growth when you live in a place where the people move to avoid growth.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, if you live in Indianapolis, you're going to have stuff, right? So you somewhat lose your ability to complain about stuff. But it's the point I've made about the community in which I live is that so many people have moved there, Brownsburg, to get out of what they were experiencing. And then you just make more and more the growth like the place that people move to get out from. That makes no sense to me. I was not opposed to growth, but it was the right growth that made cost of living, taxes, and quality of life better for every person there. So the majority of that which I supported was commercial growth. We had very little residential growth when I was an elected person because the commercial growth is an inevitable part of life, right, in terms of the right quality growth with assessed value that'll pay the 3% to lower the taxes for everybody else in a tax cap world. But when you're talking about a 626-acre parcel, now not all of it will be used for a data center, is my understanding, but obviously they bought it all. These people are so wealthy. I was told they bought I was told this, and again, this is by a very reliable source. They bought 20 acres to drop a well just to see if it would have water.
Just to see.
Think about the amount of money you're dealing with these people that come in with these data centers, that they can purchase 20 acres of premium farm ground just to test the land in question. And if it don't work, you're SOL.
That's okay.
But they have that sort of money.
Right.
Yeah. So it comes to my next part of the equation, which is so often these communities and the people making decisions in these communities fail to realize the developers of these things do not care about you at all. They do not care about your community. They are out to get the best deal they can possibly get to make the most amount of money as possible. And in this case, I was told this company has so much money that they bought a sizable amount of premium farm ground just to test to see if they could do the thing.
So some of the residents are saying that the rezoning was arbitrary, and it also violates the town's comprehensive plan. The land is currently, or was, residential and rural. And now that it's been rezoned, it's going to disrupt, as you're mentioning, the community's character.
So this is where it comes back to, because you're seeing these data centers, and obviously we have laid out the ramifications of it. Now, I think this data center is unique in the sense they're supplying their own power. They've somehow come up with the ability to supply their own resources to the thing. I don't know the intricate details of it. I know enough to tell you things, but not say things that would reveal the people
that I put SMRs in there
that I talk to. But the reality is the state has admitted we're out of power to the point where they're going to raise your utilities to get into the nuclear power business. So the power's coming from somewhere. And I don't understand, and nobody has made an articulate argument to me on why we keep doing these things when clearly they're not paying off, because that data center, I can guarantee. Now, the thing is not final yet, right? We're in the zoning phase of the whole thing right now. They ain't coming in without an abatement. And the data center abatements are different than everybody else's abatements that they're eligible for. And so if you have this thing that will forever change the landscape of your community, and by the way, data centers don't bring jobs for the most part. I don't know if people realize this. One of the arguments that was made to the people that live in the area was, well, if it won't be that, it'll be a warehouse. And you don't want the warehouse because that's truck traffic and jobs. Data centers don't do that. It's a thing. It's a building and it's servers. And like, I wish my wife were here because she could explain it better than I can. But it's not people flowing in and out, right? It's not like people are moving to the community. It's just a giant thing. Well, and it sits there.
And another thing to consider is, just like a warehouse, the assessed value on it, once it's built, is going to remain pretty stagnant.
Yeah. And then when you factor in that it's under an abatement, and so you're talking years and years and years. So you have to balance all of this. And this is what people who are on planning commissions or Board of Zoning Appeals or town governments, you struggle with the ability, these changes, which we've talked about, which none of them that we've laid out are good, right? I don't think anybody, if you live in that area, you're like, oh, thank God the data center's coming. Versus the ability of somebody who owns land to sell that land as they wish. Somebody owns that piece of property. They're not indentured servants to where they have to farm it forever. And we are a society that is devalued. And don't underscore the role of property tax and how farmers have been killed on property taxes the past couple of years, and now they're being de-incentivized to farm now because of raising the taxes. Don't underscore the role that may play in this. But you're not an indentured servant because farmland has been in your community. Every so often, something may be generational, and then you reach a generation where the kids go, I don't care about this. And sadly, you can't make them care. You can't make them want to do anything. You can't make somebody want to do something they don't want to do. And so that is the balancing act now that we are at, where because of the taxes and the work involved and the devaluing as our society of farming as a collective and not appreciating our farmers, new generations of people are going, I just don't want that hassle anymore. Versus the reality of this is going to kill the character of that community.
Yeah, absolutely. And it could also lower the property values next to it as well.
It could. And if you're somebody who lives out there in that area, it is all farmland.
Yeah.
It's on the other side of the interstate. So it's as they said in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, there ain't nothing on the interstate but interstate. So it's a
Do they have public hearings about this?
They do. All zoning changes require public hearings, planning commission, town level, et cetera. Now, these people filed this lawsuit. I don't know the intricacies of the thing, so I can't say whether they have a strong case or no case. It's very hard to beat a government in court. Generally, they have attorneys who make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and just because you don't like something doesn't mean that it gets defeated. There have to be legal factors at play for remedies. But it's a conversation that we got to start having really intense now about what we want Central Indiana to be, because these things are taking over.
Right.
They're taking our resources. They're changing our communities. And by and large, based on how property taxes and income taxes and everything else are going, they ain't reducing the burden that we're being asked to front.
Well, and that was to my point that these big buildings, they get that assessed value. It's going to stay that way.
It's the argument I made last year when Warehouseburg was having their budget hearing. I don't want to hear about this growth anymore because the taxes have gone up. If you had come to me and said, yeah, we got all this growth, and I know that kind of sucks, and it's destroying the character of the area you grew up in and loved, but hey, your taxes are like stupid low, I would say, cool, I get it. But my taxes aren't stupid
They're
low.
not.
They're stupid high.
Yes.
So all the infrastructure, can't get around town, takes forever, taxes are high. What's in it for me? It's not selfish for you as a taxpayer, and the people of Pittsburgh should be asking this right now. What's in it for me? Is this data center going to reduce my local tax rate to zero? Okay, now we have a conversation. But if not, why would you want this? And fighting it doesn't make you a bad person.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC. We're going to talk about that IndyStar article coming up.
We can't in the car?
Yeah.
Oh, we can if you want. Are you
Okay.
forcing me to do this?
No.
Against my will?
Is it against your will?
You've asked me like 9 times. You clearly want to have the conversation.
No, I haven't. It's 93 WIBC.
When you wake up,
You understand this is about money. 1,000%. They started this.
when you work,
As long as the category was all Bruce Springsteen all the time.
I told you I think I could win a game of Jeopardy. I could not go on a run.
when you drive home,
Is it time to try something new, you think? Because it hasn't worked, and maybe try something new.
traffic when you need it,
Stopped on 465 again.
and updates all the time.
I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go.
Stay in the know wherever you go with 93 WIBC.
Have recent storms caused damage to your roofing or siding? Cochran Exteriors is now offering free inspections to assess the condition of your home, from blown-offs to full replacements. Cochran Exteriors knows the insurance process and will make your home as good as new as fast as possible. Trust a company that was here before the storm and will be long after. For your free, no-obligation consultation, schedule today at CochranExteriors.com or call 317-ROOFING. Cochran Exteriors, referred for a reason for over 15 years.
High-quality fine jewelry doesn't have to come with a high price tag. PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse in Brownsburg, they're changing the game with prices up to 70% lower than what you're going to find in those big-name jewelry stores or even those strip mall jewelry stores. They've got brand-name watches, stunning fine jewelry, custom designs, and you can browse their expanded selection in the charming setting of an 1888 farmhouse. Why would you pay more when you can get the best for less? Visit PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse. They're in Brownsburg today. Check them out online, pajewelers.jewelry, or call 317-456-4010.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Michaela's Mobile Spa, Michaela. Michaela got a quick business insurance quote from Progressive and chose from over 30 customizable coverages. Sure, it helps she's her only employee and does literally everything. But while others would rest on their laurels, Michaela was hard at work saving big. So take that, hypothetical other employee who doesn't exist. Be your own Michaela. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and coverage selections.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
No, not that car. The cool car. The 25 Corvette.
So what is this? Is this the pace car?
Yeah, it's a ZR1. It was named pace car for the 109th Indianapolis 500. It's going to serve as the official pace car, Rob.
You ever driven a pace car? Like you know, once they're done being the pace car, they put them out to stud, like they do
pasture.
The horses. Yeah.
No, but there's one that lives in my neighborhood. It drives around.
In your neighborhood?
Yeah.
Like it just parks outside?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah. I think somebody who works, obviously, at IMS lives in my neighborhood, and they got to have a pace car. I haven't seen it in a while, so I don't know if
Probably
they
got stolen.
Well, do they get to keep it forever and ever? Like, once you get a pace car, is it yours?
I don't even know how you'd get a pace car. There's more than one. It's not like that was the pace car.
Right.
They make a bunch of them.
But last year, all summer long, that pace car was, well after the Indy 500, that car was driving around my neighborhood.
And there's no garage. It was just parked out at night?
Yeah, it was parked out in the street.
That's crazy.
They were really gambling, weren't they?
No.
They were risking it all.
Kidding.
So the Chevrolet Corvette that is this year's pace car, top speed, 233 miles per hour.
You know what the amazing things about the Indy 500, and next time Hammer's on, we can talk with him about this, because I think Chris did that two-seater thing.
He did, right.
And the cars don't look like they're going that fast on television. Yeah. I mean, especially NASCAR. Mm-hmm. IndyCar, you can get a pretty good idea. And obviously, if you've ever been to the race, you just if you're there, they just blow past you to the point you can't even see them. You don't even know what's going on. But it's amazing how on television you see this car moving and you're like, that doesn't seem that fast. And then, as Chris did, which the car wasn't even going at full, or 180 miles an hour, whatever it was it got up to, you are it is butt pucker time if you're in that thing and you're going 180 miles an hour.
Oh, absolutely. 233 is what it's. So this is the fastest American-made car.
What's the fastest you've ever gone?
I can't imagine going that fast.
What's the fastest you've ever gone?
Probably
I will say, no. Kev, over under. Casey, you have a number in your mind? What the fastest you've ever gone in an automobile?
Yes.
Okay, Kev. Price is Right rules. We're going to guess what's the fastest Casey's ever gone in an automobile. Closest wins without going over.
I'm going to say 90.
90? No, she's easily on a, and this includes a motorbike.
Are you including the motorcycle?
I said, what's the fastest you've ever gone?
You said in an automobile.
I was thinking a car.
Yeah.
What's the fastest you've ever gone?
You're so irritated. Well, he's low. It was 110.
I was going to say, I would have said 105 to be under.
Mhm.
I was saying, I guarantee you've pressed 100. Okay,
Yeah.
when you were without admitting to any sort of felonious actions
Mhm.
or things that could end you up in next to Gabe in a correctional facility
Right.
somewhere.
Mhm.
What were you doing when you were doing that? Just on the open road somewhere?
Yeah, it was on the Parkway in Mississippi, and I lasted probably 3 seconds. And I looked down at the speedometer and went, whoa.
You were on your bike.
Yeah, I was on the motorcycle.
So you were like the wind was hitting you.
Oh, yeah. And it was, when I realized how fast I was going, I said, I need to slow down real quick.
Yeah,
So
so-
I let up the throttle. I don't recommend that. Kids, don't do that. Don't do what I do.
Don't
But
go 110 or don't let up the throttle.
Don't go 110.
Ah.
I was in full gear. I mean, I had the helmet on and all.
Would that have helped you at 110? I mean, you get at 55, maybe it helps you. Does that help you at 110?
I don't know. Luckily, I didn't find out. I mean, yes, I would assume so because your head's heavy. It's going to be first thing. Actually, it's your jaw typically.
Really?
Especially in a motorcycle accident.
Well,
that
let's
hits
get off
first.
the death on the highway
Right.
routine here. But
yeah,
so
that's why I say don't do that. It was a stupid moment.
Okay, so you went 110. This
Mhm.
car can go twice as fast as the
Right.
fastest you've ever gone.
Yeah. 233 miles per hour. I'm wondering, is it have the roll bars in it?
I don't know. How would I know? I don't know anything about cars. I own a car that barely is a car. It's like some sort of half breed between a
You
car
don't even
and-
have electric windows in
Nope,
your car, do you?
or locks.
Those are roll down. You got to crank those down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know how good it feels to have had my car paid off for 5 years, Casey?
Yeah.
Dang, it feels good to be a gangsta.
So these cars are in Arctic white with jet black interior.
You know-
They've got the Indy 500 logos on them.
You know the major reason I keep my car?
Because it's paid for?
Well, it's paid for.
And you're frugal?
Well, that too. Okay, you've hit on the two biggest ones.
Uh-huh.
But also, I have a deal where as long as I keep my car,
Mhm.
insurance stays the same.
I was going to ask you about that. Your insurance must be pretty low.
Oh,
at this
yeah.
point. It's not a big
They're
expensive
basically paying
car.
me to drive that car at this
Mhm.
point.
Yeah.
And I've seen what it would be.
How many miles does it have?
Woo! Let's see. It's a 20. Well, what is it? A 10-year-old car. It's got 160. I mean, no, I don't drive. I don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Here and
true.
Here and back. I don't leave my house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one of the advantages of being me. Once I'm home for the day, boom, I don't leave the house. It's like there's no.
You missed out on your nap yesterday.
I did.
didn't
It was
you?
horrible. I told Casey that. I said, man, I'm so off today. So my routine is this. I get off the air. I head for home. I stop at the Arby's.
Yeah.
By the way, it's always the same sweet, wonderful people. They know my name at the Arby's. We were driving home yesterday. I'll get to this second, but I'm driving home yesterday. Gabrielle wanted Arby's. So I went to the drive-thru, and the lady looks at me like, what are you doing in
This
this?
is not your normal time.
And I said, yeah, my adult supervision is here. And she's like, you're like 3 hours late, Rob.
We didn't have your order ready. Hang on. Pull ahead.
Yeah, so I work. I go to the Arby's, eat my lunch, go home. Generally, it's spring, so sometimes I got some yard work I got to get done.
Fight with the birds.
Fight with the birds. The birds were back. Did you know the birds, they plowed through with their beaks? My old man had made this great constraint out of, what are they, pool noodles or whatever those things are called, so they couldn't get up there. They plowed through that thing with their beaks, cut it in half, built a nest in 2 days.
Did they really?
The birds are back. I had to take the birds down. Anyway, I do whatever yard work I got to get done. I try to usually do something that resembles exercise, and then I'm usually done with all that by 3, so that gives me like 2 hours to myself.
Right.
To decide, take a nap, watch my stories, whatever I'm going to do before I got to do parenting the rest of the evening.
And you didn't get to do that yesterday.
It was all disrupted. That's what I told Casey, because the hearing wasn't until 1, so me being at noon, we had to, just fart around here for an hour. Went over to the courthouse. Gabe was in court until 3. Got out, had to come here, do the thing with Hammer and Nigel. By the time I got home, it was like 4:15.
Your whole day
Can't
was
take
blown.
a nap.
Right.
And then I had to exercise after Livy went to bed. So my after the Pacers game. So my exercise routine was all thrown off. So today it's just like I'm just discombobulated.
Yeah, you're all out of sorts. Is that why you're maybe a little irritable today?
I'm a little irritable because I'm Rob Kendall, but my routine is just totally thrown off today because I didn't get the normal. Look, you get this because you're in media. You give up certain things to get certain things out of this business. I give up money to not have to put any effort into life. That's the trade-off, right? That poor guy. What's that poor guy's name who was here last week that Kevin was training? What was that dude's name?
Oh, Steven.
Steven. Very nice. Young guy. He's being a producer or whatever. And, I'm asking him about his life and trying to make him as uncomfortable as I possibly can. And finally, I just said something effective. I said, "It's so cool you chose to follow your passion and be poor the rest of your life." And he just deadpans at me and goes, "I'm going to be poor the rest of my life?"
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, they didn't tell you this? They never tell you that in school, do they?"
They told me that in broadcasting school the very first day. They said, "You're going to have to move to some place named Moose Breath, Michigan, and you're not going to make any money." If that sounds good to you, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my life. And then, I got totally disrupted. How do we even get on this? I don't even know how I got on this. I don't know. Anyway, this is our show, right? That's why we're number 1.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
There sure are a lot of memories in that house. It's where you celebrated years of anniversaries and birthdays, where you watched the kids grow, where you relaxed in your retirement. You love it, right down to the scuff on the dining room floor and that sticky window in the bedroom. But now the stairs are getting harder, the lawn, the cleaning, the repairs, it's just too much to keep up. And it's probably time to downsize. But the thought of getting the house ready to sell is overwhelming. It's time to learn about Simple Quarters. They'll buy your house as is. No repairs, no worries. They handle everything. You take what you want, you leave the rest. They're a Christian company, so they understand the emotional ties, and they'll be respectful of your memories and feelings as they help you simplify your life. If you're considering downsizing and want a hassle-free way to sell your home, call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. That's 317-900-HOME, or go to simplequarters.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
How long it could be a factor. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Rain is likely for most of Indiana both today and tomorrow. As for temperatures today,
mid to upper 70s, and as we get into tomorrow, again, we'll be more like in the low 70s with some more cloud cover.
Aaron Updike with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says there could be more rain and storms this weekend. Ford is extending its employee pricing sale until July 4th. The CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, announced that extension during an interview with CNN today. He says he's doing that to encourage sales to consumers who are nervous about rising prices because of tariffs on imported cars and auto parts. Farley says he wants to keep prices competitive and low, but he can't say that prices won't go up. And a new tool using artificial intelligence has been able to diagnose arthritis with 98% accuracy. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
With a B&W Premier Club membership, you'll stay ahead of breakdowns and costly repairs. Our members get routine maintenance, priority scheduling, and exclusive discounts, saving you money and keeping your family comfortable all season long. Visit bplusw.com or call 317-214-0108 for more information.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
Will you be there?
This is just such a prestigious place and such hallowed ground.
Reigning Brickyard 400 champ and 2024 Indy 500 Rookie of the Year, Kyle Larson will try to make history racing and winning the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gainbridge and the NASCAR Coca-Cola 600 in the same day.
I love you, Indiana fans. How about we try and kiss these bricks on the IndyCar?
Don't miss your chance to see Kyle Larson take on two-time defending champion Joseph Newgarden and all the stars of IndyCar at the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gainbridge. For ticket info, visit ims.com.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
All right, I'm interrupting my quest to find out how much taxes the Amish pay to tell you about Universal Windows Direct's Spring Home Improvement event. Yes, if you're getting crushed on property taxes, like the rest of us, you're probably looking for every way possible to save a few dollars, and boy, can Universal Windows Direct save you a few dollars. Listen to what's going on right now. For every 2 windows you buy, you're going to get the next 2 free. There's no limit. Then on top of that, you pay no interest until 2030. You can do math, 6 years, no interest. And last, but certainly not least, get a $500 bonus off your entire home improvement project. So let's review. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free. No interest until 2030, and $500 off your home improvement project. Call today. Schedule you totally free. No hassle, no obligation, in-home estimate. Some restrictions apply. Get all the information on that as well. 317-659-7574. 317-659-7574. See everything for yourself on the web. Everybody's using the internet these days. You should too. UniversalWindowsDirect.com. UniversalWindowsDirect.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
As our loved ones age, ensuring their safety at home becomes a top priority. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. I'll be right back with some practical things you can do to reduce the possibility of a fall or injury.
Cardon and Associates offers the finest senior living options tailored to your loved one's needs. Reservations are now being accepted for new apartments at Copper Trace in Westfield. Visit cardon.com.
Removing tripping hazards such as rugs and floor clutter is one way to prevent or minimize falls around the home. Another is to position grab bars in the restroom and other common areas where your loved one may need some extra support. Contact your local area agency on aging to inquire about low-cost or free installation services. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Mother's Day is almost here. Sundown Gardens is fully stocked with high-quality annuals, trees, shrubs, decor, and more. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, sundowngardens.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
We get asked all the time, like, what do you do during the commercial breaks? I do things like fight with people about whether the Amish pay taxes or not.
What did you find out?
Well, I would say fight. We have a dear friend of the show, and we were just having a fun conversation about the Amish. And he said they don't pay property tax. And I said, I think they do.
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
Well, they're a religious order. So he thought maybe they didn't have to. But then I said, I think they do. And everything I'm finding online says the Amish do pay property taxes. So if you're Amish or you know someone who is Amish, do the Amish have to pay property taxes?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm asking out of naivety, like if you're, okay, so if a church, maybe this is the disagreement. An Amish person, like the same way if you're a member of a church and you go buy a piece of land, you're a member of a church, but you still pay property tax on it. If you're Amish, I don't think that gets you out of paying property taxes, but the Amish is a religious, like an Amish church buys land, they probably don't have to pay property taxes.
You don't think so?
Maybe that's the thing that we're getting at here. I mean, it's in the middle of this conversation when I had to come back and do this radio show. I mean, I could theoretically just stop doing the show and get back to my conversation.
Right.
But I'm finding online it says the Amish pay property tax. However, I'm guessing if the church itself bought the land, they would not have to pay the property taxes.
When you think about that, infrastructure, yeah, they use the roads for the buggies, but typically they don't have the electrical.
Okay, this guy, Brian, in the YouTube chat, they said they do. I do a lot of Amish land title work. See, this is where the YouTube chat is paying off.
There you go.
Brian, does it like if the Amish church buys the land though, they're out of it? Because see, this is where the communal aspect, right? The Amish could buy the land. They got the people who know how to till the land, farm the land, all that other stuff. If the church bought the land, they could theoretically farm the land, then make money off the land, not pay taxes on the land. I'm not mad at them. I'm just trying to figure out the rules by which the Amish work, and I think this is a little confusing. Okay. This is what I do in my spare time.
Yeah, this is what you do for fun, right? This is it. Find out which different groups aren't paying or are paying property taxes,
so we can find them and figure out how they've found found ways to beat the system.
Yeah. Did you see? I know Hammer was in here last week. I think you guys were doing your picks or betting on who the next pope is going to be.
That's right.
And he had made a comment that the long shot was Pizzaballa.
Yes, that's who
Pierre
he wants.
Battista Pizzaballa.
Yes,
is his name.
Yes.
Apparently, he's now going to the front of the line. That's the word, and I'm getting
Pizzaballa is the front runner.
He may not be the front runner, but he is not the long shot anymore. And this is coming from the Catholic Herald.
Oh, I wonder how many people just bet on Pizzaballa because his name is Pizzaballa like Hammer.
Okay, the Catholic Herald, they said one thing that he may have to his advantage is that his last name literally means pizza dance. And that would create a lot of memes and generate a lot of compelling social media surrounding him as a figure. He'll be a media point of view, right? And that would give him a chance to pick up the cultural megaphone, so to speak, left behind by Francis.
So they're literally saying we could pick a pope because he'd be fun on TikTok.
Yes.
You've got to be kidding me.
No.
Brian says, right, church gets religious exemption. So theoretically, that's my theory on how you'd pull that off, right? Because there's a communal aspect to the Amish. They can farm the land together. The church buys the land. They sell the stuff. I'm not mad at them.
They're going to put multiple dwellings on the land?
I don't know. I don't know how that works. But let's see. A bunch of people are weighing in on this in the YouTube chat. People are saying the Amish they know do pay, but I don't think the church does. Okay, very good. I feel like we've put that to bed.
They are saving money on insurance for their cars because they don't have cars.
Do they have to get the buggy insured?
Oh,
that's another question.
Another good question, Rob.
Because the buggy uses the roadways. So if the buggy's on the roadways, I mean, it's not a motorized vehicle,
right?
But it is a vehicle. I have to yield. I can't run the buggy over.
It does have horsepower.
I don't get to say out of my way, Buster. So shouldn't the carriage have to be plated if it's going to be using the roadways? Shouldn't have to pay some sort of insurance in case it does damage. I mean, it'd be one thing if they were in my space, I could do whatever I want to do. But if it's just like on 465, I got to respect the rules of the roadway with the carriage, then the carriage should be on the hook the same way I am.
Okay.
Right.
There you go.
Huh.
They're also saving money on their utilities.
You know, I think the Amish, speaking of the great work they do, I think they built the new clubhouse at the Pittsburgh Golf Course and the cart barn, and it's phenomenal.
Really?
It looks great. If you want, I've been told this by multiple people, if you want great construction done, you bring in the Amish, they will do it, and they will be respectful, and they will be on time, and they will do it right, and they will do it great.
Well, they are craftsmen.
Well, right. They should be good
at it. A lot
at
of woodworking. My dog was Amish.
What?
Gracie dog.
What do you mean your dog was Amish?
My dog
Did she
was
come with
Amish.
a hat?
No, she wore wool pants. No, we got her from an Amish farm.
You went to the Amish farm and said, give me that one?
Yeah.
That's how that works? No kidding. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Actually, now the more that I think about it. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to derail that whole thing about the Amish, but people are always asking, like, what do you guys do behind the scenes? What do you do during the breaks? I usually just walk around the place or I debate with people about the Amish. I mean, that's what this show does.
Okay, you've probably seen the billboards, right?
What?
Wawa.
The buggies are plated, and yes, through their church corp, they have insurance. No way. And Shane Butler says they have to plate the buggies too and insure it. Mind blown, Casey.
So the buggies are insured.
And you know now at water coolers across central Indiana today, this is going to be the point of conversation that people are going to have about the Amish because we stoked the conversation here today on the program.
What else do you want to know?
No, I'm good now. I got all the things I need.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, I'm totally fine.
Have you ever visited an Amish farm
An
or
Amish
anything?
person?
Yeah, an Amish farm.
Like, have you ever shook the hand of an Amish man?
Yeah.
Well, Amish Paradise is one of my 10 favorite songs of all time.
Is it?
I don't know if well, it's music. We got to go. Anyway, that was a good segment. I bet we get some sort of Marconi for that. Our boss is back there just stabbing himself between the eyes with a flathead screwdriver.
Abdul's going to join us next, right?
We're going to talk about court yesterday.
It's Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel Show, a recap of Donald Trump's first 100 days address in Michigan and what happened with the Pacer playoffs. Tony Kinnett also on the program, 93 WIBC.
You often hear the 4 C's of diamonds: color, clarity, cut, and carat weight, and how the direct diamond importers are bigger, better, and cheaper with no competition. Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's family-owned jewelry store, wants to take you on the trust side of the jewelry industry. The 4 E's: education, experience, equipment, and expertise. Pierce Jewelers' team has over 200 years of jewelry experience along with their state-of-the-art equipment. Their expertise isn't just sales, but in jewelry and watch repair, appraisals, gemology, and custom design, all done in-house. The diamond world has changed. Pierce carries a vast selection of mined and lab-grown diamonds and can educate you on both and will help you save your hard-earned money. Pierce Jewelers has some of the most unique and exquisite pieces of colored stone or diamond jewelry. Many are one-of-a-kind custom-designed pieces. Pierce Jewelers is proof their family-owned jewelry store in Carmel can compete in today's world. Remember, shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
If you love spring and Indy but hate the paint, do what Lynn did. She called Rhino Shield.
It is a single-wide manufactured home. We moved from our home, which we had the Rhino Shield on. Rhino Shield was what we were going to do. That was no question. We knew we were going to do it.
Rhino Shield's a ceramic coating. It's not paint, it's better.
The Rhino Shield representative came and we discussed what we wanted done. And this time, we had the roof done as well.
Now, you can have the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
Even the people that have been a little younger than us have said they don't have to worry about getting just an everyday painter because Rhino Shield has the 25-year warranty. And we truly believe in this product.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Do you have an idea for a book? Fiction, nonfiction, or a children's book? We can help you put it together and bring it to market at Dorrance Publishing. We have thousands of testimonials from people just like you that we've helped get their books sold in stores and online. We've even got a service called The Writer's Coach. It's perfect for people that have a book idea in their head and they just need someone to help them put it on paper. Dorrance Book Publishing has been helping people just like you who have a book idea, written or not, for over 100 years. Imagine being counted among the most famous authors in the world with your very own book. Call right now and let us help you turn a book idea into reality. It's easier than you think. You just need a little help. Call us now.
800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. That's 800-879-4098.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The WIBC mashup is everything you love, from fiery debates to laugh-out-loud takes, all in one podcast. No weak sauce, just the best of the day each weekday. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts.
Back in the summer of 65, I was feeling more dead than alive.
Well, as we've talked about throughout the course of the show today, our long national nightmare is over for now. The Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob Casey's here. Abdul Keep Shabazz, attorney at law, author, broadcaster, owner-operator of IndyPolitics.org. Hello.
Good morning, my friend.
So you were in the courtroom with us yesterday. Gabe Whitley is a convicted felon. He'll be heading to the Bureau of Prisons in short order. And at least for a few months, this menace to society will be constrained by the federal government.
Yes. Mr. Whitley was sentenced yesterday to 3 months in a federal institution to be determined later, and also sentenced to a year probation for filing. This was now. Please note, folks. With Gabe Whitley, there are multiple things going. It's like a big game of Jenga. So work with me here. He has federal charges for filing fraudulent campaign finance reports.
Yes, that was yesterday.
Then he still has 2 separate sets of state charges. One is threats, intimidation against me, put a picture of a house online, and also numerous civil lawsuits left and right.
Right. So the state charges he is scheduled to deal with in July, which, depending on when he actually heads to the pokey, will basically coincide, if that stays on a trial date, with his release from the federal penitentiary. So let's talk about yesterday for a few minutes. And we got into this on State House Happenings, and Casey and I have talked about this throughout the course of the day today. You can't sentence a guy for being a general nuisance to humanity.
Otherwise, I'd be on death row.
Well, you ain't nothing compared to this guy, because you put your name behind it, right? And this guy, there is nothing you can do to him at this point other than put him in prison. I thought the thing that laid that out was when the judge was talking about, with the sentencing, a fine could have been part of the sentencing. And I would bet for a lot of people that commit his sort of crime, it is. But the judge basically said he doesn't have any money. So what good is a fine going to do to him? And that's what Gabe figured out. There's nothing other than him going to prison that anybody can do to him, because there's nothing you can take from him.
Well, what I thought was interesting was Judge James Sweeney was very, very methodical and very practical in his application of the sentence. It's like, Mr. Whitley, you're not some Tim Durham type character with millions of dollars, so finding you some money, thousands of dollars isn't going to do you any good. However, I do think, that $200 is for Gabe Whitley almost like $200,000 is for Tim Durham. It's the fine itself, but also it's if you're in pauper status, that $200 is a lot,
right?
Is a lot of money. So you got to go come up with all that. So I realized what the judge did when the judge said, "Hey, I can't find you $1,000, but I'm going to still make you feel something."
And we talked a little bit about this with Merritt, and obviously Casey and I have gotten into it throughout the course of the day. And look, the reason we've spent so much time on this guy, first of all, obviously we personally were affected by all of it, and that's what we do. We talk about our lives. But the story is so unbelievable. I say it is the dumbest crime and the worst executed crime maybe in American history. And he did them both together. I mean, it's such a stupid thing. Well, you're going to lie about these donors, and then what? Like, what? So you lied about the donors. What was the end game here? The money didn't exist. You couldn't spend it on advertisements. So what was his end game?
I think the end game was he wanted to be a lot bigger than what he was, politically speaking, not physically speaking. I think politically he wanted to be a big deal, wanted to be a major player, and all this other stuff. And these people like me and you and Jim Merritt and other folks in sort of the political system, and I think in a weird way wants to be us, and wants to be this player, but it just wasn't happening.
And that's one of the things that you realize with this guy yesterday is the judge alluded to it, the elaborate nature, the way he plotted all this through. He was trying to say he was blaming it on his disability and this and that.
And okay.
Now he's putting the computer down. Now we're in big trouble.
This is what got me. And this is why.
Are you about to get angry? I've never actually seen you get angry.
No, just a little animated. This is what I love about Judge Sweeney. Judge Sweeney's like, okay, you say you had ADHD. You say you've got autism. You say you've got all these sort of mental disabilities.
Right. Before you finish that, I just want to clarify. He blamed doing this, basically, that he has this ADHD, this autism, and this causes all the stuff he does on the internet, this elaborate thing. It's all the fault of that.
Yeah, and he said, and he says he can't control his impulses.
Yes.
And to me, that was crucial, because Judge Sweeney's like, okay, well, no offense, Mr. Whitley, but this isn't like some involuntary reflex where you just bump into somebody in the hallway.
Right.
This is thoughtful, methodical, planned 3 times that you filed these fraudulent campaign finance reports. So So help me out here. Do you have a mental disability that causes you to do impulsive things, or are you just some sort of semi-criminal mastermind wannabe? It's like it's the old thing. Are you lying then, or are you lying now? Which one is it?
And he lied numerous times to that judge yesterday. The judge knew he was lying, and I think that's what's so frustrating for so many of us is, okay, unless the state gets him, which I think they will, and I think the punishment from the state is going to be worse than the feds, but he's at some point going to be back out in society. And the fact that last night, after claiming all this remorse, and I'm going to change my life, and I'm going to change my ways, and I'm going to be a different person, all these crocodile tears, to the judge, he goes back on Twitter, social media, calls you a pedophile, which is what he's done numerous times before. He is not sorry at all. He's not going to change at all. The only way to stop this guy is to put him in prison.
I would argue he's sorry, but he's sorry he got caught.
You're right. Yes, that's correct.
That's the only real remorse Mr. Whitley had. And the other thing is, too, what I thought was interesting, like, okay, here we are, we're back at it again. Like, I don't think Mr. Whitley understands or fully appreciates that all your social media activity is being monitored.
Right.
It's being monitored by the U.S. Department of Justice. It's also being monitored by us. And your social media activities were kind of what got you in trouble in the first place.
Right. If he hadn't been on the internet, he'd be out of this by now.
Yep. Exactly. So
if he hadn't been on the internet, he never would have been in this position in the first place. Any of it. Yep. If he'd have just stayed off the internet.
Like I said, that what kills you makes you stronger, I guess. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, because that's going to be in the hands of the prosecution again. Trust me, it'll be in the hands of the prosecution probably in about an hour and some change here. Because, and also too, I also thought it was interesting that the last time we had court, I had to leave the room.
Yeah.
Because we had the no contact order and the whole 9 yards. This time I got to stay, and I let them know a week ahead of time, like, hey, I plan to be there. I'll be in the back, kind of minding my own business. And Judge Sweeney, and this was the thing that I love about Judge Sweeney. Judge Sweeney said, I realize there's no contact order between Mr. Whitley and Mr. Shabazz. However, that is a state-ordered no contact order. This is federal court, and federal beats state. So, therefore, let's proceed.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll wrap it up with this. I mean, because this is sort of putting the bow for now on this 2.5-year saga that started with you and I suing this guy down.
It's like a Lord of the Rings movie.
Well, and we talked about this in State House Happenings. This is what's frustrating. We have time and platform, right? We could see this process through, and we were like, we are not letting this dude get away with this. Most people don't have the time, the effort, or the platform.
Or the resources, for that matter.
Right. And the media coverage of this was a big reason I think this guy is going to federal prison. But you've covered, take yourself out of the equation, which I know is hard for you to do. But if you take yourself out of the equation, you've covered Indianapolis politics and government for 20 years now. Where does this rank in terms of the unbelievable stories you've covered?
Easily in the top 5.
Yeah.
In the top 5 of the bizarro world universe, it's like, wow.
Yeah. Well,
and the one thing I do want to make it clear, I always love how gay rights, Abdul is trying to kill me, wants to kill me. Like, trust me, dude, I have no desire to be anywhere near you. And number 2, if somebody wanted you dead, it'd be my wife, and she would do it. And she could do it, and everybody would know she did it, and nobody would prove a damn thing.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing Gabe in a courtroom, hopefully for Abdul Summer, as he will face state charges scheduled for July
14th. I'm looking forward to his blog after he gets out of prison. His Hoosier Inquirer, how I spent my summer vacation.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you to Casey, Kevin. Great job as always. Most importantly, thank you to you, the listener. Without you, there is no us. Kendall Casey Show. 93 WIBC.
Promises made, promises kept. Governor Mike Braun's bold leadership is already getting things done for Hoosiers. Governor Braun and State House Republicans are delivering massive property tax cuts. We're talking nearly $1.5 billion in relief. That's real money back in homeowners' pockets. But Braun didn't stop there. He cut local income tax capacity by nearly $2 billion and capped the local income tax rate to protect Hoosiers. And Braun led the fight to reform local government taxes, giving Hoosiers more say by requiring referendums be held in high turnout elections. Thanks to Governor Braun and State House Republicans, your property taxes will be lower. Future increases are reined in, and the system is now more transparent. Visit HoosierHope.org and let Governor Braun and Republican legislators know you support historic property tax cuts. Paid for by HoosierHope.org.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling, B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with the free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. B-O-O-H-E-R. BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like Family Heating and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
Your one blood donation can help save the lives of up to 3 people. Give blood through the American Red Cross to help hospital patients. Visit redcrossblood.org today.
On the level, on the go. 93 WIBC Indianapolis.
Coming up. We've got a couple of active days here for today and tomorrow.
Here comes Halliburton. Hits the timeline with 7.
You know, I spoke to John Halliburton last night.
It wasn't just a one-time thing.
This is the WIBC News at noon.
When things could get dicey.
Right now it's partly cloudy, 64 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. I'm Ryan Hedrick.
And I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 12 noon. The weather's been throwing a lot at you across Indiana lately, and it's not done yet. We've got a couple of active days here for today and tomorrow. We're going to have some storms move in late this afternoon into the evening, so 5 p.m. onwards. And with those, there could be some severe wind gusts. Aaron Updike with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says you could also see some hail, and only places in southern Indiana have a chance of seeing a tornado.
The Indiana Pacers are moving on to the Eastern Conference semifinals. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks in Game 5 in overtime Tuesday night, 119-118 to win the first-round playoff series. The game-winning shot made by Tyrese Halliburton and called by Mark Boyle on the Pacers radio network.
Here comes Halliburton. Hits the timeline with 7. Outside the arc with 5. Driving in the lane at the goal. He lays it in.
And after the game was over, Tyrese's dad, John Halliburton, went out onto the floor and started waving a flag with his son's face on it, right in the face of Bucks forward Giannis Antetokounmpo. Tyrese was asked about that afterwards.
I said, my pops, I had no idea it happened until I got to the back and was showed the video. Me and my pops have talked about that, and I don't agree with what transpired there from him.
And Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle also discussed it on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan this morning.
You know, I spoke to
John Halburn last night, a lot of people in the organization did. He was very contrite about what happened.
Carlisle says John assured him that he would never do anything like that again. The Pacers face the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 1 on Sunday. Tip time still to be determined.
The Indiana Fevers say there's a way that you could be a game changer. Jeanette Cruz reports.
Indiana Fever fans have a chance to score off the court this Saturday before their preseason tip-off against the Washington Mystics at Gainbridge Fieldhouse at 1 p.m. The Fever, Pacers Sports and Entertainment, Kroger, and the Indiana Diaper Bank are hosting a diaper and wipes donation drive. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., fans can drop off donations to help Hoosier families in need. The goal is to collect 50,000 diapers. Game tickets and team info are at feverbasketball.com. Jeanette Cruz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai, testifying at the antitrust trial with the U.S. State Department today.
He said that Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it available and useful. One of the remedies that the DOJ is calling for is for Google to sell